but I actually don't think the composition was much of a big deal. Giving Taliyah was the big issue because it is a power pick for BDD. However, I'm with the Zale on the assessment for Game 1. Even bigger in Game 2. Execution. Is this even LongZhu? Are they here?
It just doesn't feel like the same team, right? I watched so much of them in LCK Summer, so impressed by them there, so impressed by them in the LCK playoffs, all the way, against SKT, looking dominant. Then in groups, it just felt like they're impressing more and more and more, and you can say what you want about perhaps them having an easier group than we had thought. Maybe the comparisons were somewhat off there, but even just mechanical errors, it feels like the decisions they're making, it feels like the way that they're playing the fights is not the same as what I have seen over the past few months.
I just want to give credit to Samsung for that, because I think Samsung are just playing so well. This draft, amazing, in my opinion. I think this draft was so good from Samsung.
From Samsung, yeah.
From Samsung, of course, because first of all, they have this setup with a Shen and a Taliyah, meaning it's so easy to either defend mid with Shen or go bot lane where you have a Taric that can set up a tower dive against a Lulu who can't stop it at all. So I love the setup for them with the overall comp. And I have this rule coming into Worlds saying BDD or Crown should never, ever get Taliyah. Ever. And clearly, even when Koreans are playing each other, that should not happen.
Hey, look, Deficio, I didn't give it to them. You don't have to yell
I blame
at me.
you.
I did not.
I blame you.
This is not on me.
They banned Cassio over Taliyah.
You know what I love about this, though, this game here, is it showed a different look for Samsung. We talked about the different ways that Samsung could win, right? They could draft late, stall it out, win past that 40-minute mark. Or they have to index early and make plays happen, beat LongZhu early, and that's what they did here. The Shen and the Taliyah pick coming up big for them in that way.
And you have to give so much credit, I think, to Ambition, who has been everywhere, it feels like, in the early games, especially when it's not even like he's playing an early game jungle. He's not on Lee Sin. He's out ganking his opponent on a Sejuani and looking miles better than he did in group stage.
And they're just giving him comfort every time. And taking the Sejuani for him, not only making that big play middle, but here, as the Fisher was saying, you have the Taliyah, you go straight to the bottom lane. And this is after the bottom lane actually burns summoners out of the loop. So it just becomes such an easy setup for you that you know it's going to happen when you see the draft. This is a play that is just by the book. That's exactly what Samsung have been doing, and then you have the creativity that the Taliyah
There's
brings.
your stat line, Azale. That's what you're looking for right there for Ambition, showing a lot of action in the early game and successful in that action.
And that's 0-3-0, not in one game. That's over 5 games, right? Like, pre-15 minutes, he did nothing, and he has been pivotal for them in the early games today.
Very much so.
Also, the replay we just saw right there once again shows why the comp made so much sense from Samsung's side, because when BDD is picking Orianna here against Taliyah, he's never going to assist his side lanes. And then it doesn't matter if you have these Lulu Varus that can actually push the bot lane, because they're never going to get any help. Taliyah can always go down first while Orianna is stuck there, add in then a jungler, maybe even a Shen ulti in a later fight, and then suddenly you have 5-man bot lane just killing LongZhu right there.
You do have to question, though, even before the Taliyah was down there, even before the Shen was down there, this is supposed to be far and away the best bot lane in the world, drafting an advantageous 2v2, and going just about even, right? Where are the advantages for LongZhu that we were expecting coming into this? It's supposed to be, maybe it's Khan and Kuve going close, going head-to-head, but everyone really thought that LongZhu's bot lane was the superior.
Crumbs, get in here before I push us forward.
Well, I felt like the draft from LongZhu they gave up the win condition that they typically have, giving away the Taliyah and then Khan succumbing into the Cho'Gath. He has never played a tank in his entire LCK career. And now they do it after they got smoked game 1. Not too confident.
I think just with the bot lane point, you can't apply pressure yourself in a 2v2 if the enemy mid laner and even enemy top laner can go to your lane so easily. It just makes it impossible to play aggressive. You will get ganked, Taric will stun you, you will die, and it stops Praying Gorilla from being able to win lane.
Right, but we're looking at Praying Gorilla, right? One of the best bot lanes in the world, and they are struggling. I do want to take a look at the Dragon fight that took place in 19 minutes. This is an ace and a quadra kill here for the mid laner, brought to you by Acer Predator.
And this fight just starts out with a beautiful wall out of Crown. You have a 4v5 already, so it's almost impossible to lose this fight at this point. They try their best, but can you really do anything about it when the setup is so pristine out of Samsung?
And I think the Crown really also deserves a massive amount of credit because he's another guy, if you're looking statistically, he really did not get much done, in the group stages. Either him and Ambition have been playing so much better, and the fact that they are rising to the occasion is super impressive.
And you talk about the importance of Prey for this LongZhu squad. Of course, when you're getting zeroed out at the beginning of a fight, it's hard for you to put damage out, but I just want to throw this number out for you. 764 was his DPM through group stages. 523 so far here in the series. That's down 32%. So again, when we're looking at maybe the best performing member on the team in terms of their win conditions and one of the big veterans on the squad, he's not putting up the numbers that he needs to be in order for them to come away with a win.
He's getting shot down first in laning phase and then in the fights here. The Janna was banned away by Samsung, which was smart because Lulu is not as good at protecting picks like a Varus. When you are playing some of these comps here with the Talia, they can also get onto him because of the insane creativity from Crown. Like, those walls are allowing his team to get to the back line of LongZhu in every single fight, or stopping one member of the backline from even dealing damage.
LongZhu has to put 3 wins together in a row here to move on to the semifinals. They have elected to move to red side, but let's remember, this was a 6-0 team, the most dominant team coming out of the group stages. Yes, there's arguments to be made about the group that they were in, but here they are, down 2 games in a best of 5, not looking like the team that we thought they would be coming in. What do? What's the problem?
Well, when we saw LongZhu coming into this tournament, we saw them as the new greatest team ever, but there was one flaw, one possibility for them to fail, and it's that it was a team without international experience. 3 rookies relatively new to the scene alongside Prey and Gorilla. We thought, are they going to perform very well? Group stages proved that, in fact, it was too easy. They did not get tested enough there, and now against a real opponent, a real tough opponent, a Korean team, the strongest number 2 seed, it's too much for them.
And to me, as far as what do you have to do, I think you need to go to what has worked for your team. You need to build some confidence. Give Khan a counter pick in the top lane. Allow him to actually do what made LongZhu this spectacular team, to take over a lane, to get pressure in the side, and allow their bot lane to try to be the ones absorbing the pressure and not necessarily post 6. It's so hard for them to do anything into a draft like this. You know, go back to what has worked all year long.
I think going to red side is basically step number 1 to get that potential counter pick as well. I think if you can get a Talia, awesome. It's probably going to get banned away. I think take Sejuani away. Give it to yourself. Get a stronger front line.
The easy part was choosing red side.
It was actually step number 1.
No, but yes,
did that.
It's a necessary step, but it's the easy step. The question will be, what does Samsung have? You know, some kind of ingenious plan for the blue side here in Champs Lock? We'll find out soon enough, rather. Samsung Galaxy are up 2-0 against the current LCK champion. See if Samsung can close out the series against LongZhu Gaming when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Crown is low, looks for the flash, Naga gets it. The flash away, but he's still going to go down. The chase in is there. First blood comes through for Cuz. Here comes the wall. There's nowhere for LongZhu to go. Ulti pop as well. They're going to be durable for this one. 1 kill, make it a second one. The barrier pop means nothing, and the second kill comes in. 2 for 0 in the bot lane. 1 for 0, and Cuz going to drop, make it a second one. And it's going to be a giant stun to the backside. This could be everything they need. Shotgun to buy a few seconds, but it doesn't matter. A triple go coming across. 2 actually back in, but Khan not going to lose his life. He didn't need the last one to remain here, but he's in a 1 versus 3, and Crown gonna have the damage. King Me, a quadra kill for Samsung's mid laner. Samsung Galaxy will not be stopped. Crown, perfect kill. And Crown gonna have the damage. King Me, a quadra kill for Samsung's mid laner. Samsung Galaxy will not be stopped. Crown, perfect kill, but is patient. A sub 30-minute game 2 win for Samsung Galaxy.
If you want to follow the best of the Rift, then you need T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. We've doubled our coverage, so you can stream worlds in more places than ever before. With T-Mobile, don't miss a moment from the first battle, all the way to the lifting of the Summoner's Cup. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
뭐 일단 저희야 조춤식에서 삼성 좀 피해줬으면 좋겠다 이 생각은 했죠. 왜냐면은 어쨌든 한국 팀끼리는 서로 이제 잘 알기도 하고 부담스럽죠 서로에게. 그리고 뭐 세계 대회인데 한국 팀이 많이 올라가면 올라갈수록 저희 나라의 위상이 올라가는 거나 마찬가지인데 그중 하나는 꺾이는 거잖아요. 뭐 저희가 됐든 삼성이 됐든 아쉬워요.
Right now, it looks like that shame might actually be LongZhu's surprise to many. Right now, down 0-2 against Samsung Galaxy. Obviously, a great effort out of the upstarts here, the ones who clawed their way in by winning the regional qualifier against KT Rolster, clawing their way through the group stage. It was actually a bit close for them as well. They had dropped 2 games, and very few predicted they would have such a good showing so far, but LongZhu against the ropes.
I have to say as well, a lot of the people were looking at, ambition to be punished, the bottom lane to be punished.
Crown to be punished.
Exactly. And they're all playing so much better. This, Ambition is playing defensively in the early game on this Sejuani for a large part, but he's playing it so well, and he's got off all these counter ganks that it really makes me think, what is the big change that LongZhu are going to make on the red side here, now that they get the 2 picks in answer to try and change the course of this series.
And I think they have to hope for more than just a top lane pick being different. The mid laners have been worlds apart. I talked about it last game. It was actually Crown who had such a bad summer split. BDD was the MVP of the regular season. Co-MVPs with Kuro, of course, from Africa. But this was the mid lane that you were like, BDD, wow, he's had so many deathless games all split. He's had less than 1 death per game on average all summer. He's averaging 3.5 deaths per game so far against Samsung. He's being punished not only by Crown, but also by Ambition, actually getting ganks off in the mid lane, and it does not look like that same LongZhu.
And look, Orianna is still ultra comfort for BDD, but usually it was Orianna as a wave clear tool, while Khan was one of these big split pushing top side champions. Because they were denied red side for 2 games, they never got an advantageous matchup purely in the 1v1. So that meant BDD was the only one really with trumps, and him being held down and also Khan being largely trivialized by Cuvée once again stepping up leaves LongZhu Gaming on the precipice of a sweep.
And of course, as we switch sides, we have the bans look a little bit differently. Jace on the one side, and Galio actually holding up the mantle of the blue side ban here, as Zaya continues to be dropped out from LongZhu Gaming. They had first picked up the first one as a sort of denial, and now they're unwilling to give it away. Janna going to be added to that pool once again, and one final ban to come through from LongZhu before first pick.
The Janna ban makes so much sense because either they'll be taking Lulu at first pick if it's available, or they can return to the Sejuani. They basically force a ban, force the hand of LongZhu, and they can just take the Sejuani that so far has looked very impressive from Ambition.
Nobody's been able to punish it early on, and it's been such a big part of the initiation for this team. Ambition playing very well so far, doing a lot for the team. But because on the Jarvan might go right back to it. It just has not had that effectiveness.
And you can see the priority in getting maybe a comfortable mid laner in. Of course, we know the Malzahar is still up. That was so scary before, but I feel like Taliyah can do reasonably well in the matchup. Taliyah going to be grabbed up for BDD. True comfort for him with his Galio off the table. Jarvan, I think, still likely to be an early pickup here for either Cuz or Khan.
Ultra comfort for Cuz as well. If he does go with the Gragas, so cycling through options here. Certainly a sort of comp that might be put together to be a very high priority on the Varus, with only the Xayah and the Kalista off the board.
Yeah, Ruler definitely,
in a row. Yep.
Ruler definitely has performed extremely well on this Tristana. And I'm curious too, you know, whoa, actually,
yeah,
they're gonna go right back to,
if it's not broken, don't fix it. Of course, the Taliyah is gone. Crown can't play the same champion, but Samsung Galaxy only adapting when the champions are banned away from them more often than not. It's like, look, this composition is working. We are out team fighting, and Ambition on Sejuani is making the early game work. There's nothing wrong with this.
This time around, though, as you talked about, you know, LongZhu, they can have a lot higher pressure here. They can draft for a lot more power, a lot more of that tempo control. Taliyah here has been huge for BDD. We mentioned how big of an impact Crown had in the last game, but BDD during the regular season was a monster with it.
And I love the point you make there, Kobe, because it felt like the Taliyah was actually the thing that allowed them to straddle the line between, hey, we're going to be really powerful in the late game fights with the Sejuani and the Taric, but also they had the double roams of the Taliyah and the Shen. Having both those things meant that LongZhu really had no time to act. So not having that here, Samsung needs to find an early game pressure point somewhere to at least stop LongZhu from just playing the standard LongZhu style at least one game in this best of 5.
See what they can fix for themselves. Of course, we saw the adaptation of Gragas over Jarvan, a bit more reliable engagement. Now that Jarvan's gone, of course, as well. There's still more to be played that Khan could bring out, but they obviously know with the counter pick available for the red side for a good matchup for Khan, they're trying to get rid of the scariest options.
And what it means also is it's putting Cuz on comfort. Jarvan is away from comfort for him. They want to use the last pick as a counter pick, at least on paper, playing around with the Trundle. They're just going to lock in Trundle. I guess it could be a flex. Gorilla has played it on support, but not in Korea. We have not in 2017 had the Trundle support.
But Trundle is good into Tarek, melee versus melee matchup. Sure, he's not probably a sense user. Maybe he does the Bond of Stone run. That's, of course, a possibility, but we're no LongZhu not looked at the item. So Lissandra gonna come out in the mid lane for Crown.
It's an old favorite. He was a big Lissandra player years ago. We have had no Lissandra outside of Kuzan once or twice.
And it, again, answers that question we had before. Oh, this hard engage. You know, utilizing Tarek effectively requires that you have multiple forms of this super hard engage to ensure you get this team fight. Now they've got Lissandra who can also go in with the Shen, with the Sejuani. This is, again, Samsung with a very similar strategy and kind of expecting the evolution, the adaptation of LongZhu to take away the Taliyah, yet having the answer prepared.
It does mean more playmaking here on LongZhu. Of course, Prey and his comfort. Varus can start fights, BDD the same, Cuz and the Gragas, as well as Gorilla's Rakan. So LongZhu can turn up the pace here in a matchup where it feels like they've been out-tempoed by Samsung Galaxy.
Now Lissandra, let's think about it, fell out of the meta because the effective range against most champions could really be punished, would often look for wave clear and be wave cleared on and harassed. In this matchup, Taliyah will have early push power, but Lissandra has the teleport, has very instant zone control, either with the offensive stun or just going for the self-ult, which in the late game will be very common. So trying to match fire with fire, it still should be front foot for the Taliyah in the early game though, and the early game to me is the breaking point. If this early game goes super duper even, it's looking like LongZhu, even with the Taliyah, may find a brick wall.
There's so many interesting things here with, you know, Lissandra ultimate, she could use it on herself to buy time for a Tarek ultimate to come down. If they could sync up those timers really well, that could be a good combo. But on the other side, there's a lot more control here for LongZhu this time around with the ability to move champions around. With Gragas and Taliyah, there's a lot of displacement. So the options are definitely there, and LongZhu could kind of craft a better team fight for themselves.
Absolutely. 9 champions have hard crowd control in these competitions right now. It's going to be fun watching to see who can do what. And this might be the last time we see Summoner's Rift on stream here today. The blue squad, Samsung Galaxy, in their home colors this time around. The unexpected 2-0 start against the Korean champions in LongZhu Gaming. But Ambition has had one of the series of his life right now. Great early gank pressure, good kills off in the mid lane. Crown bringing out his Lissandra now as well. Add a bit more spice.
And all the eyes are looking at LongZhu now. What will they show with their backs against the walls? On the precipice of being eliminated here, so surprisingly, so early. Again, as you mentioned, Prey and Gorilla do have crowd control. They have initiation in their hands. These are the veteran players. The veteran players need to be drawn on in moments like these.
Biggest power from that crowd control will especially be at level 6, where they can turn things on instantly, and the Cosmic Radiance, the exact zoning, the exact team fighting, the Shen reaction may not be as valuable as will be as the game goes on. So I'm looking to LongZhu to really focus what they can make happen around level 6. There's no inevitability about this game as it goes on.
Minions have spawned.
See, Samsung Galaxy going to look for cheeky movement in the bottom brush for now. See if they don't find anyone here for themselves, as looks like Ambition may very well start at his own blue buff. Pretty easy for Sejuani to do so. That will indeed be the start, it looks like, here for Ambition. Prey, Gorilla also going to be in a similar boat, going to lane at the very start as Khan's Trundle, or maybe BDD's Taliyah going to leash for Cuz on the Gragas. He's starting Raptors already, so here comes the attempt. 2v2 in the bot lane, and no attempt to be had. A little bit of poke damage out. Nothing's going to land. A couple of love taps at a core JJ.
Flexibility to start at the advanced brush, because Sejuani, their single target ability to take camps, can equally happy start blue or red side. Does give the information to LongZhu though, that's most likely a top side start for Ambition.
That early wave clear for Crown, 6-3 in farm. Some of this I think being that BDD had spent a little bit of time leashing, but either way he's going to be okay for himself. And there's level 2, the attempted poke coming around, and now of course they can track the jungle pathing of Cuz. He will walk by this ward shortly.
Yeah, I love the bottom lane pushing up here, getting that deep ward. Even if they just see it move and just see a little bit of information on where Cuz is, does buy some time. Ooh, Ruler walks forward to dodge the CC from Gorilla.
That was pretty crucial because he wasn't level 2 yet, so no rock jump to come through. That could have been a small window for LongZhu to use. Couldn't quite make it happen, though. Han, you can see being pushed around a bit early on, using his one and only potion, and Kube out trading again, gets another grasp trigger off.
A lot of fans would have been surprised. The game plan largely today was for space control champions, tanks, or CC-wise, and Ruler really focused on with a lot of these drafts because Prey has had the advantage over Ruler at Worlds 2017. It's been a poor tournament for Ruler after an excellent season where he was a picture of consistency and ambition. That feels good.
Yeah, he gets
level,
the heal
though.
off it as well. Gets the stun. Here comes Crown. Cuz gonna have to flash against the wall to get away. Looks like Body Slam wasn't quite ready for him.
Bottom lane control, bottom half of the map control here early on for Samsung Galaxy. See if they can actually translate this into some extra advantages, into some gold values.
Certainly possible right now. Currently, the gold is in the favor of LongZhu, the tune of 200, although it doesn't mean a ton. Khan currently the big leader here in this one, 20 to 13 in that top lane, but part of that is because he's pushed. Gets level 4, goes down to put a ward down, drop the Scryer's Bloom as well, and help track to see what Ambition could be up to. He wants to keep his pressure going. Cuz not losing a beat. Flash down, but still able to grab the Scuttle Crab.
Well, CS lead opening up for BD. I imagine that will continue as, like I mentioned, in end of picks and bans. Does take a few levels and items before Talia can really match the wave clear tempo there that Talia Q is able to create. Not just top side, but ganking a Shen is optimistic.
It is right now. Quarter Day again getting some deep wards across. Constantly these players trying to make sure they can track what the opposing junglers are up to when they're in Fog of War. That's when you're most afraid. And of course all these camps right now on cooldown waiting to respawn, so nothing to be afraid of just yet.
Very curious as well to see how Crown plays this lane with the teleport, because usually we'll see Lissandra, spam spells early on, try and wave clear, push out the waves very quickly, hope to get those backs off, but sometimes she'll be contested in these waves and have to use the teleport to get back to lane. Currently, though, Crown was able to get a pretty decent amount of space. Ah, there goes the teleport. So the early game teleport is forced out due to the mana issues. Ambition as well, gonna go head-to-head with Cuz here.
Flashless Gragas, bit of fight on the top side. Kuba gonna immune some of the damage. Nice Spirit's Refuge, keep himself okay on that one. Doesn't get attacks off. Now a stun on to Prey. Quick shield coming out to buy some time, but still lower health on this Varus. Samsung Galaxy doing quite well in this 2-on-2, and Prey and Gorilla are lauded by almost everyone as maybe the best bot lane in League of Legends. I would say almost inarguably the best bot lane in South Korea, and right now, J and Ruler are measuring up to them so well, doing beautifully in this 2-on-2.
In the 2 versus 2 and in the team fight, so critically in this series, they have performed extremely well. We'll have to see if Gorilla is able to get any roams off, or if Khan will have those huge initiations that we've seen from teams like SKT that can change the entire face of the game.
My focus is on the tug of war for vision around mid side, because those double control wards, if LongZhu can ever get those, especially bot side, makes those turret dives bot side, or at least ganks onto the duo lane so much more reliable. So far, Samsung do control the bot side of the map.
Crown's on a ward right now, and a controller for BDD is going to get rid of this trinket for himself. He actually can track Crown pretty reliably with his own trinket, but here comes the first attempted invade. Again, these ultimates start to become available. Crown has his, and Ambition going to try to take away this. Gets it. Nicely done. The Gromp is his. Now a nice knock up. Nice rocket jump, though. Ruler, again, timing it well. It's not terribly hard to do as long as you're paying attention, but still important that he landed this one. A bit lower health, but of course they know there's the re-engage possibility. Today with the shield and the heal, and Ruler was fine.
The war continues here. Action hasn't necessarily been as lethal as it was in the previous games. We have hit on a couple of times how important mid lane priority is for both of these champions. Crown does not want to be following second because he did use his teleport, like you mentioned, Kobe, just to try to pressure in the mid lane. Ambition is playing so much on the front foot this series. Never thought to watch for Worlds would not have suggested it, as these intangibles, his ability to just suddenly step up seemingly out of nowhere, that really is why Ambition is highly regarded by analysts, because he has those weird intangibles that make him a super good player.
Again, the harass still coming through in this bot lane. You're seeing +2 currently, although that'll be answered easily enough by Prey. Should be 60 or so apiece farm-wise, these bot lanes are equal, so you can't give too much of a lead either way. Because waiting around the wings, reveals for a control ward, and then going to go for his second recall of the game.
Are we back and forth?
Ray pops the barrier. He is so afraid of going down. 300 health left on him. Then the re-engage from LongZhu. Not going to be had. Here comes the rock jump forward, though. Ruler going to burn his escape tools. Here comes Shen, though, back into the fight. It's going to be a 3v3 as Gorilla forced to run away, and looks like a pillar has stopped the Shen ulti.
Yeah, just the shield enough to scare them off there. Even though Khan is able to interrupt it on the top side, Ambition now has gotten off a base and is back out on the field. Level 6 available.
He's gonna look for this one, cuz out of mana on this. He's gotta look for a way out as BDD look to rejoin. Won't quite cut up for JJ, but the damage output might be enough. Couple more shots to do him in. One more auto might be lethal. The heal comes in, and the re-engage for Crown puts him away. Keeps his teammates alive. Cuz dangerously low, smites for health. Here comes the backline axis. There's Ambition now on the wrong side of this battle, finding a bit more. They're running back towards the team. The blue buff still whittling away, but looks like blue will be secured by Samsung Galaxy.
They're able to fight their way out and take the blue buff prize in the end, even without the Stand United having been burned earlier. Samsung survived.
A beautiful passage of play that was bloodless, but still advantaged Samsung. Picking up the blue buff, they were first to contest. So close to the kill in mid lane as the heal charge kept Core JJ alive. Crown was second to get there, understandably, still no teleport. But his support not going down means no instant gold lead to LongZhu.
BDD wish he had a little bit more mana, a little bit more juice in the tank. But such a valuable resource early on, and nothing left.
Now we reset back on the game. Equal gold, pretty much equal experience across the lines. Levels, one small lead for Ambition, currently 6 as Cuz is not, but it shouldn't take too long. And this guy on your screen right here, this Sejuani, 3 games in a row. It is just worth repeating time and again how much better he has been in the knockout stage, not being picked off, getting the ganks out successfully, night and day.
And look, it's so hard to explain why Ambition is highly regarded, why I respect him as the best jungler in this tournament based on the top 20 rankings, because he can have passages of play, as the 0 kill involvements in the first 15 minutes shows, for long stretches that make you go like, wait, why is this guy great? He's not the explosive jungler that Peanut was at Worlds last year, for example. But his ability to really be smart in the mid to late game wasn't a factor in the group stage, where early game he was falling away. But he can also step up, read his enemy jungle with a couple of days to prep, actually have a system in place to shut down what has been so good for LongZhu.
And he's a player who's almost been replaced as well. The spring split at the beginning of this year, Samsung Galaxy signed Haru. And Haru played about 3 times as many games as Ambition did throughout the spring split, and Samsung Galaxy did pretty well for themselves. I think a 3rd or 4th place finish there in the LCK. And then in summer it changed, and Ambition was getting the starts more again. He was actually being much more successful as a player, getting the starts here at Worlds as well, but has regained his composure very clearly this split. But again, a player who was almost replaced, doing so well at Worlds now. Now the fight continues in the bot lane, the ulti coming across, and won't be too much there, as this is going to be a dissuasion of damage. LongZhu forced to run away, but no summoners down.
Yeah, even though Cuz is there, when the Taric ultimate comes down, they don't want to go for any more trades. Ambition is in the river, always mirroring here, and he's ready to pounce.
Advantage for LongZhu is that Arn has continued to farm up. He is still a win condition in the 4-1 later as the game goes on, and no proactive Stand Uniteds to punish them so far.
But they're very ready, and that's why LongZhu are giving them room to work with here, setting up all this vision because they have this advantage. Stand United is available, the teleport also available, and that's why Cuz is just waiting for a counter gank.
Not one to be had just yet. 600 gold lead though, Samsung Galaxy starting to grow their advantages across these roles. Cuz gonna face second to Ambition. Suddenly it's gonna be 4 versus 1, and there's simply no way out. Explosive cast buys a second, but it doesn't matter. First blood for Crown.
Really nice proactive ultimate usage there from Cube. He can just go back to the top side as well and not lose his turret. Wasn't sure about the damage output, but they had just enough as Lysandra came in.
League of Legends, you always have to watch the cooldowns though. It's a bit of a seesaw here because now LongZhu have a Talia ultimate and a top lane teleport that they could use. And Samsung are left with just the teleport here from Crown. And
wow! Crown, of course, ulti down for the roam over, has to get pushed out of the lane, and maybe BDD finds something for LongZhu.
The ward did see Ambition go over the back of the Dragon Pit, so LongZhu know that he's there, and they're kind of just walking over leisurely.
He's seen now, actually. He's on a trinket now. And BDD roams down, says, you get off that mountain, Drake.
Yeah, they saw him go into the Dragon Pit. They knew he was in there, and because he was able to push Crown out of the mid lane, BDD can just walk over at his leisure after he took care of the minions.
And he also draws the teleport out, so another thing that is relieved pressure-wise from LongZhu is the ability for Crown to instantly join a fight bot side. Little wins that you get from pressure and turn into bigger things, but for now at least, all gold lead to Samsung.
The only way you can use little leads of cooldowns is actually using the disparity right now. As you mentioned, Samsung Galaxy losing all 3 of their globals for now. LongZhu have both of theirs, meaning the Talia ultimate and the Khan teleport. But again, it has to be used in the next 3 minutes or it doesn't mean anything.
And it is difficult because look all the vision that Samsung laid down. You know, all this priority that LongZhu because look all the vision that Samsung laid down. You know, all this priority that LongZhu let them have because of the Shen ultimate doesn't matter. Because in the end, it's Ambition waiting in the brush to ambush Cuz, and they get the easy first blood.
At time, the 2 control wards were top side, so they were set up there for a turret dive top side, but not the sort of defensive vision bot side to actually see Ambition coming through. In a long time.
For a year.
16. Understandable, as I said, I believe 1 game from Kuzan on Lissandra from Jin Air, but otherwise certainly not a big pick in the meta after the last round of nerfs.
It was fun to see what kind of innovations have been put into builds over the course of time. A Proto Belt not really that rare on Lissandra builds I can remember. And of course, cooldown boots pretty common as well. You expect to see Zhonya's Hourglass somewhere in that build, and it comes through afterwards. A blue buff to BDD going to be pretty easily secured. Need to keep his pressure going. Another game obviously full of Mercury treads when you've got Lissandra, Shen, Sejuani, Taric. Those are all great recipients of tenacity.
Sandra, double duty from the Protobot in lane, can just use it to fast push 1 wave that previously would take multiple rounds of Q, but also is part of a burst pattern with her ultimate offensively. So it does mean that she can have lane control 1 side of every, say, 3 minion waves. That would be much more difficult for her otherwise.
I also love Lissandra as a champion simply because while she does have, you know, invulnerabilities that she can use, she doesn't have a large health pool with this, and she's very vulnerable to being burst down within crowd control, you know, like before you can get your ultimate off, especially if you don't have good supporting casts to help you out.
Frey gonna adapt his build a little bit. Wits End first, of course, again, respecting all the magic damage burst available. Crown being the most notable version of that on the Lissandra. Wants to give that one away. Also an early Ninja Tabby to keep himself alive through the same boat. So it looks like both players kind of gearing up for scaling builds, staying alive through roams and ganks. But look at this, the attempt of pressure at the bot side as we saw Crown move down. Teleportless doesn't matter. BDD has yet to leave his lane. Now level 11 on the Talia. And really going equal in farm. Crown is just simply doing better this game than BDD, despite being on a champion we haven't seen him play in a year, and BDD being on his most comfortable.
A good read on the situation. Crown obviously had this in the pocket. Previously, they were taking away the Talia, banned away as well 1 game this series. Now just something he cooked up over the passage of time. It's one of those things where, as the meta evolves, you remember, hey, actually, it could be a decent situation. It's not just, hey, Lissandra counters Talia. Certainly not true, but the way they're using it fits the game plan. In the late game, big criticism for Lissandra is 1 CC, and that's all she provides. When there's 3 others, Clean's not going to be a factor there.
Adaptation is so incredibly important here on the world stage. We already saw, you know, innovation take effect.
Aqua gonna lose some of this one, but they could get some more of the damage on this as the ulti comes across. They're all invulnerable. Gorilla stays alive, but Frey not gonna be as likely. Maybe Barrier Pop staying alive a bit longer as it re-engages here. Khan's teleport there as well, and Crown again first to the scene. BDD gonna walk back to mid doing nothing.
Yeah, he's gonna walk through wards here, and all of that, all of Samsung throwing everything down on the bottom lane should be answered pretty easily, and the defense right now, there should be no turrets going down. The big difference though, Shen obviously gets 2 globals because he has his own teleport, and with Juve recalling and heading right back to top lane, Khan now will be left without a way to join the next fight.
And we talked a couple minutes ago as, hey, BDD still has ult up. We'll wait for his next bracket to play while cooldowns are down. Those cooldowns are backed up. That's why we see a second phase check here. Still no momentum or movement for there to be a Weaver's Wall usage. Nice disengage cask from Kaz as well.
Samsung, they get the flash and barrier out of Prey, the teleport out of Khan, plus control of the bottom side. So in the end, they do get an objective, not the first turret, but they do get the mountain trade.
They were 5-1 on Summoners on that fight. We watched the top lane battle continue. Should make it 6-1. Of course, Khan uses teleport as well. So huge advantage, Mountain Drake on the back side as well. And Samsung Galaxy 6-1. Of course, Khan uses teleport as well. So huge advantage. Mountain Drake on the backside as well, and Samsung Galaxy, every game starting to look more and more the same. They are in control from almost start to finish. And we've yet to see LongZhu be really proactive enough outside of a couple of lane kills from BDD in the first game as Khan using his ultimate to stay alive a little bit longer. Might have the damage though, but Spirit's Refuge gonna buy some time. Killer comes in for a bit more. A few more autos will do it, the flash to chase! And that could be exactly what LongZhu needed. Khan with the solo kill.
Will Ambition be able to chase him down? There's a ward here in the Tri-Bush, so the answer is no, but that is the Khan that people wanted to see on the world stage.
It took 3 games of this series, finally gets that big confidence booster of the solo kill. All of the action previously on bot side. Didn't even take a roam, was just a solo play. But that's extra information for Samsung to have to react to on the top side. And it's also the impetus for BD and Prey to start playing bot side as well.
And with some gold starting to go back the way of LongZhu, you have to caution for Samsung, while they have so many proactive tools, they have all this global pressure, all these burst tools and crowd control. Later on, once you get to the later, longer fights of the game, it will be a bit taxed to find some extra DPS. Here we go is another look at the massive healing that you get with Trundle. The ultimate, he's able to shred resistances. It's tons of healing back on the frozen ground there as well. He's able to turn that fight around.
All of that even through Bramble Vest. Look at Kube's items. There are no new purchases there. He had Titanic Hydra and Bramble Vest last time as well. It's not getting better for the Shen. So Khan keeps stacking up again, looking for more to do. This time gonna kill the wave behind the turret. Hope to find some more pressure. Of course, Shen can wait for that easily though.
Samsung are accepting this. They have 4 control wards bot side to continue to deny BDD, making a proactive play bot side. And once again, re-invade onto the blue buff. Weaver's Wall continues to be held onto. Second steal here.
Easy enough for Ambition with the passive. There you go. 100 gold picked up. The blue buff once again stolen away. Samsung Galaxy. They've got a lot of pressure on this bot side. This Tristana and the rest of that squad out laning Prey and Gorilla.
Again, you know, they have to give up this territory because while Khan is able to push past the turret and he's farming between turrets and these minion waves, that just means that Cube is free to use Stand United whenever he wants, and there's no teleport for LongZhu to answer, so effectively bottom.
Knockup is there, getting a bit lower. The charm in, the barrier pop is going to be a re-engage back into the turret. Can they find the kills? The ulti pop for the Shen. The ultis are there, the shield, he's going to stay alive, and the stun. The taunt coming across, Kuz going to drop for the first one, and look at the Goomba stomp forward. Ruler wants a bit more. BDD's wall only buys them the time to run away. 1-0 Samsung.
As we're about to say, effectively bottom lane is Shen's domain, and Samsung are able to force the fight that they want under the turret. Even though it could have been a slightly cleaner, they do get the kill. And again, instant teleport back up to top side.
May not be clean, but it's calculated. All the vision was put down. They knew they wanted to play bot side. They're denying BDD any playmaking whatsoever. And I'm looking at this Talia and being reminded of a lot of the risers we've seen earlier in this tournament who are supposed to pick up a couple of items, shove, and then roam, but they were being clogged into lane, just wave clearing, watching the game be played around them. That's kind of the story with BDD's Talia this game. Samsung got the most out of the roams last game and have shut down the roams this game.
Fully expecting to use Stand United here. They get engaged on by Gorilla, and then the Taric ultimate hits as they get knocked under the turret. Here, I wasn't really expecting Ruler to use the early Tristana ultimate, but it ended up not mattering too much as they just changed focus and they still got the kill, just killing the front line instead. But I don't know about the communication there. Maybe they would have rather had the kill onto Prey. Regardless, barrier came out and there was no burst.
It means this is still a Samsung Galaxy winning in the early game, finding the plays to be made across the map. Brown's Lysandra has Leandri's Torment done now as well. The Dark Seal and 2 stacks is not too bad as well. Infinity Edge not too far for Ruler. Scaling continues here. 2-0 team.
And even more critically than the kill that Samsung get down there is the turret kill. The first turret bonus that they get. Just see the flood of control wards go through Samsung's inventory after they base after that fight. You know, all of the control wards to take over, rotate up to the top side, move Ruler over there, off of his extra static Shiv and BF sword here. He's ready to control the minion waves, and Samsung move in to control this quadrant of the jungle.
While Khan may maintain his 1v1 matchup against Shen, it was after Shen had already pushed the minions all the way, so any sort of split push hijink was going to take a lot longer to set up. More time for Samsung to get turrets very, very low, top side and mid side. LongZhu again, but this whole game in neutral. Must be so desperate to turn on the star like we know they can. If they can't on the day, it really means nothing.
Definitely the case here. The best of 5 is how you play on the day you play the match. And right now at Samsung Galaxy, much the superior squad. His mid lane out are going to fall as well. 2-0 on turrets. The Mountain Break already there from a while ago. And the Infernal Break spawning in 35 seconds. LongZhu's dual lane put to the top side, but Ruler with the static shiv has plenty of wave for you can see. Even though he's literally alone 1v2 with the rest of his team 10 seconds away, there's no even attempt of an engage from Gorilla. They know that Trista is safe. They know Ruler's a good enough player, and he can do anything he wants.
I do think that they should reposition him maybe for this Infernal Drake, because Samsung right now are running with so much pressure. They shouldn't give up any neutral objectives. It should be very easy for them to reallocate. There we go. We see the bottom lane going back down to the bottom side. Shen will go back to the top side. And even though this time around Khan does have teleport, they've been able to eke out this lead, as well as all the controllers that we mentioned, and take control of this Infernal.
Looks like a trade, though, real quick. They're leaving Prey in the top lane. Now, that turret was already low from all of Khan's hard work, but no one's going to help push back Kube. But Kube doesn't know that and doesn't want to contest for this turret, so it will be an outer turret picked off, although Samsung Galaxy, almost by default, do get this Infernal.
Not often a trade you'll make at 23 minutes with Baron up, but no realistic Baron pressure there. From LongZhu, they will get the Infernal with the high value associated with that. Roam into the mid lane. Almost no turret damage on Lissandra's turret.
There's not really any pressure. Crown's held up to the matchup quite nicely, and he's gotten out of his lane several times as well to help out the squad. As they now go for Baron pressure, of course, as you mentioned, that's been spawned. About 24 minutes into the game now already. Is top scuttle going to be there easily enough? And we can see what Samsung Galaxy want with the lane assignments now. Ruler's got the Infinity Edge power spike. He's as powerful as he needs to be. This is only green skies from here on forward for the Tristana player. Prey at least does have Rage Blade, but still no Hurricane for the triple melee. Not just yet anyway.
Lane is long. Rundle getting some damage onto the outer turret, but Jen's happy to surrender ground. Giving away an outer turret by no means is a big deal.
But who's leading, maybe continuing mid lane, taking a couple hundred health as well. Maybe LongZhu can start to find the split push power. You're seeing, of course, Crown top lane uncontested himself, gonna sacrifice some minions to that red turret. Khan hoping to push back Kube. It's gonna be a bit close, hasn't popped his ult yet. Can when he goes for the all-in, no stun to be had, but again, Crown getting complete alone time top lane. BDD taking the long road over as the turret's taking more and more damage, and the minions are dying with no golden experience gained at all.
BDD has continually had to give ground here. Crown just running over the map. Ambition now also invading on red side, and they might actually find each other.
You're back up though, so for now, LongZhu are still stunted. You see Prey still in mid lane. Does not have a Hurricane complete, still went for Wit's End. And the Rage Blade still fiercely single target, so shoving advantage for multiple members on Samsung on the Varus.
TP advantage, honestly, teleport seems to be just faster to use than Weaver's Wall, which PDD's only really used to keep his team alive and stop the chase, but now Khan has gotten into the mid lane and ulti coming across the trade of them. As the ability comes in only for a moment, now they're re-engaged on Kaz, who's gonna get low, but Pop Tilt stay alive a little bit longer. Now on a Gorilla, chomps down, and that is a dead for Khan. The flash forward, the taunt is in, they're gonna get the next one as Prey is gonna fall as well. This chase continues for Ruler, getting a double for the Tristana, and Kube gets the kill on top of this one, 4 for 0.
4 clean kills here for Samsung, and that will be Baron as the reward as well. This was a multi-man flank. Ambition was coming from behind the members of LongZhu, and they immediately make the call. Teleport in, Stand United goes, and Samsung clean up.
It was a multi-step plan they have been being able to pull off flawlessly today. They have just taken over red side control. Suddenly Ambition's behind. The kills are confirmed. BDD can only watch in horror as the team goes down, and they'll hear that blood-curdling sound of Baron dying again.
And the rope is getting shorter. The fuse burning down. This game soon to explode. 7,000 up, and you can watch this fight again. Khan cannot get enough done.
See how clogged all the members are of LongZhu compared to so many options, so much control of the top side. BDD rides in, but fight's almost always done.
Yeah, LongZhu, I mean, they make the call for Khan to come in here with the flank. He's actually the one that started out. But Samsung, they were already deep in enemy territory. As you said, Ambition was in the red quadrant, and they immediately react with the Stand United and the teleport. They were just waiting for this. It was kind of the dream for them to start out the fight this way, and they pick LongZhu apart. BDD was in the top side, nowhere to be found. Now, here come the Baroned up Samsung
Oh,
Galaxy
explosive
player.
cast almost brought in really, but not quite enough. Now BDD cleansing away, just barely stays alive. Will there be a re-engage? Khan getting lower and lower on health, down a half HP, but gets the ulti across to buy some time. Nice re-engage from Gorilla, but Prey so low he can barely even auto-attack. And no kills to be had, and not enough meaningful damage. His mid lane will still fall, despite LongZhu's best efforts.
Happy to keep fighting as the gold values are so low for LongZhu, but the items are there, even though it's a pretty cheap build onto the side of Prey. They keep forcing forward, they keep taking objectives. They're gonna happily cut to the bot side, take another tower.
No defense to be had. Cuvée and Ruler gonna make these attacks land. Explosive charge to hit there, and there we go. 5-2 in turrets, the 2-0 on Drakes as the Baron buff continues to push in as mid lane also under fire. Cuz not gonna find anything.
So many people. We're talking. Ambition actually has got everyone after him.
He's got no flash, and there's the knockup. This could be enough to get one kill, but it would only be the second kill of the entire game because bot lane is still under fire. So though Prey gets his first kill, the inhibitor likely to fall. 5v4, teleport flank comes in for Khan. This is the big play that LongZhu needs.
They're trying to chain together the kills here. BDD has his ultimate as well for Talia.
And Khan's in this mix. Can they get Ruler? Gets over the wall. He's safe for this one. Cuvée might not be so lucky, but he jumps across as well. Maybe Core JJ, the one sacrifice. He does not have flash, but to only get a single kill is not enough for LongZhu.
Again, the Baron buff here. Crown pushing on top side. They get another turret. And even though LongZhu chased down 2 kills, it is just a drop in the bucket.
LongZhu were the proactive team that always forced their enemies to trade down. They were the team that would get the vision forward and profit from the vision. But they have played this series in darkness. And Samsung Galaxy, who in many games I would watch, would never put together any forward vision, have owned the vision battle and kept LongZhu just clumped together, hoping for the best.
Good filler here from Khan. They are able to chase it down, but as you point out, on the mini-map here, you see this is in trade for an inhibitor turret due to the Baron buff on those 3 members. Tristana rapidly able to take those structures. And then again, as you know, the teleport to follow.
Shot calling from behind is very different to shot calling from ahead. From behind, we see the veteran squads like SKT and Samsung make things happen in longer games. But when you're ahead, it's very easy to call time. It's very easy to choose where the battlefield will be. They haven't been able to choose almost anything this series, LongZhu Gaming, and that's where some of the things we didn't see for the group stage, even for the LCK, is creeping in for the side of LongZhu.
We have to revisit all of the predictions here. LongZhu, so many people are already getting excited and predicting them to be able to knock over SK Telecom.
Can they win Worlds undefeated? No, certainly not the case anymore, of course, but you're right. That was the suspicion coming in. LongZhu, they win the LCK. Maybe they're the best team in the world. They're the pre-tournament favorites. Samsung Galaxy making them look nothing like that. The stun of the front line to follow up, not quite there, but the turret to fall.
Prediction for LongZhu to win was the one everyone made, and what we saw at Worlds, it was the right one. But this Samsung that creeps in for the big matches, that was on display against SKT after Rift Rivals, against KT Rolster, when they were the first to run Barrier Heal Ardent Sensor in Korea. They very periodically have these reads when they need to, and this is the result.
Here they go, Khan outside in enemy territory.
Damage on Ambition, stuns have already been used. The ulti's on cooldown by now, down to 1,000 HP. A flash to get some of the people pushed around. Khan stun up, flashing away from the Taric. The re-engage, they're gonna find Cuvée. A bit of damage, he's gonna go back to safety. A triple knockup for Gorilla. Is this the fight? BDD gets one. They're gonna find a second now for number 3. Can they force Samsung out? Of course, the junglers there, but there's no major objectives to take. It's only farm for LongZhu.
But LongZhu buy themselves some time, some much needed time here as they return to their base in ruins.
Will not find objectives, but the game, the series will not end here. Big seismic shove from BDD partway through this. At the start, when they were wailing away on Ambition, it was looking all a bit sad. He's so damn tanky at this point. Surely nothing could happen, but these Korean teams, their fight backs can be impressive.
Not many options for LongZhu, so they've got to take this opening. They fight their way out. Cuvée on the outside here on Shen actually gets very low at the start of this, and once Gorilla sees his opening, the 3-member combo there opening up the kills.
Once they did not have vision in the brush, so there wasn't really target acquisition for the carries. There was no good ult target for Crown either. That was certainly not something we'd expect given how the game has gone, but it was with an inhibitor down. It's the sort of mistake you can make and not give over control to the enemy. But at least the amount of tempo Samsung had is starting to slow down.
It might fix the mental state as well of LongZhu, who've been nothing but losing ground the entire game, hoping to build it back up and
Fitting for Talia, try to get their ground back here on this one. 9,000 gold down, though they've got a lot of work in front of them. As the darkness continues to grow across the map. Frey's Hurricane, that's an important spike for him. He's going towards Ruin King, so he will become an incredibly efficient carry in the near future. Ruler, of course, already there on 4 major items on the Tristana.
Let's talk about how Samsung, this series, have always had their AD carry an item and a half ahead of his opposition from their bot lane focus, from the smart control ward. They had this game, trivializing the roam potential from BDD. Prey greater than Ruler was one of the core tenets of a prediction for why LongZhu would win this series, but it hasn't been relevant because they've never had parity in team fight.
And so much as well due to this Shen pick. We've criticized so many teams, throughout this tournament of not utilizing the Shen pick well, not utilizing that global pressure well. But Samsung have done it so well here that they've been able to consistently invade on that blue quadrant of the jungle of LongZhu, take control, force them to give up slowly but surely small edges in that area. And now they're knocking at the door, and Khan is answering.
Looking for this one, half HP pops guilty, but how long can he stay alive? He's trying to tank up the front line. Ulti coming across from Varus will find a couple of roots as the Terracold pops as well for the invulnerability to re-engage. In comes Crown, he can't even be touched, pops the Self-Ult for the slow, and the first one comes in as Trundle drops the second as well as Cuz is gone. The rocket jump forward, Ruler wants a third. They're gonna get a stun on Prey, he's to lose his life as well. Number 4 and 5 next up for the chopping block as BDD can only run away, and hope his base won't lose without him, but the rest of the team ready to push through the bot lane. The wave already pushed the inhibitor. Easy to drop. Samsung Galaxy defying expectations. 3-0 was a likely result, but not in the way you expect here. As they look to knock down BDD, he can barely wave clear the Protobout to land, the stun, the root, the ace, and there is nothing left to stop Samsung Galaxy as they take down their first opponent. They are the first in the semifinals, and who can really stop this team?
What an impressive performance. Last year's runner-up. This year coming in with so much less excitement due to the performance in summer. Some of the key members, Crown, struggling a bit, but rallying so heavily here. Coming out with defiant strategies, executing on different team comps, utilizing Shen so well. Just so many things performing extremely well here for Samsung.
And casting LongZhu, because of their upstart nature, because of their young players who had not played a lot of games together, it always felt like, even with their impressive start to the season, when would the wheels come off? When will finally a team really suss them out? In certain series, KT was able to do that, but they won the title in unexpected fashion over SKT. They make it here on such a run of form, but Samsung did have the read. I said I had multiple points that Samsung needed to work on to be able to hold a candle to LongZhu. They were able to attack their weaknesses and also show us strengths they apparently didn't feel they needed to show in the group stage. They can keep these strategies cooked up and hold on to them. They've done it before. That makes it so hard to predict because you're like, maybe they don't have them. But the fact that they could bring them here in such a big match and win in as emphatic fashion as possible, 3-0, insane.
Yeah, really incredible stuff. And it's fun because I think the win was so multifaceted. I think their drafts were very good. You heard the analysts talk about that, especially after game one, how smart these drafts were, how well it all looked. Even some of the surprise pick like Lysandra coming in saying, yeah, you finally got your Talia. That's cute. We've got this one ready for him. And Crown looked infinitely the better player in that game, even though the rest of the mid lanes had gone a bit closer through the rest of the series. That Lysandra looked amazing. And then execution-wise, absolute perfection out of this squad. The 2-on-2 looks so good in the bot lane, better in team fights as well. Cuvée, as you've been mentioning, has done so well to hold up to Khan and did so here as well. Big plays out of the Shen. The ultimates were beautiful as well. And honestly, a team that looked so much better on the day. Results deserving of the 3-0. And now to hear more about that Samsung Galaxy sweep over the LCK champions, let's send it down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. A crushing 3-0 victory for Samsung Galaxy over, again, the only remaining one seed from a major region and perhaps the pre-tournament favorites in LongZhu. I'm just astonishing and spectacular.
Exactly, right? It's so amazing. We all want to jump in here because it's so good.
Crown wasn't kidding. They actually were holding on to their strength. because they showed their weakness, that meant that they
There it was. They only had strength left to
strength
show.
left
They do it with the LongZhu pick of all things. They give over that power pick in Talia for BDD, and they have the answer.
It just felt like they did it with everything, right? I mean, the fact throughout this series, they're able to make every comp work. Every play felt like it was working for them. And I think that the execution, as well as the drafting, was just absurd from Samsung. Like, this is such an impressive result because not only was this the overwhelming favorite to win Worlds from both players, they just got slammed. This was not even close. This is like, if Samsung squeaked by the skin of their teeth, you'd be like, ooh, Samsung could probably win Worlds. They just 3-0'd them.
Exactly.
This was easy.
So many things needs to work for you. Again, you got to outdraft them. You got to outplay them as well multiple times to actually 3-0 an LCK champion. Game 2 was so one-sided. Game 3 was so one-sided as well. Only Game 1 we really felt like, okay, this is super back and forth. Both teams can still win. Apart from that, like, Samsung were just far and away the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the plan to answer for everything. Of course, step 1 was followed through on for LongZhu Gaming by
There were more
choosing red
steps,
side.
apparently.
Step 1, play perfectly.
The rest of the steps not necessarily coming together, but as we take a look at this champion select, I mean, you've got that Trundle matchup. So, you know, a winning matchup for Khan. Maybe, maybe it's not as hard of a carry champion as, say, the Jax that they reached for in Game 1, but there was potential there.
So you get the Trundle, and right, you have a champion that can melt the tanks, and you have a split push threat, but how linear is Trundle? Very. Compare it to Shen on Samsung's side. You utilize him in the bottom lane, as we saw in Game 2, but now in combination with the Lissandra, the answer to the Talia, and this pick that hasn't seen the meta for so long, but she maintains such a perfect fit right now because you play mid lane, not for your CS deficit, not for crushing the other guy, but to just push roam, and answer side lanes, and perfect pick for that.
I agree, and I think, honestly, though, the Trundle was a good pick, and I think the Trundle was doing fine, but when the rest of the map loses, it's very hard as a split pusher to be able to actually take any advantage that you do have for yourself and get that going, and you have to also look at mid lane. You know, when did Talia ever get up to the top lane to snowball that? When did you see them executing on what their game plan was, which was very clearly get the Trundle ahead, use Talia to get up there, snowball this lane with Gragas, with Talia, you know, get this to be this dominant split pushing force. It just never happened because I think A, of the Lissandra, B, how well the bot lane is going, and the fact that Ambition was able to always, it seemed like, have priority in the jungle.
Exactly, like, again, the main win condition for LongZhu all summer long, it's been mid lane priority from BDD, ability to go top and snowball your top lane, and while your bot lane stays safe and just plays 2v2 and never dies to ganks. But 2 games in a row now, we had mid lane priority going in favor of Crown. And that, again, is so important because it means BDD has no impact. The first game we had impact, Azael, as you called out, he threw the entire thing away.
And when we come back, I'm going to get into that matchup specifically, but we have the opportunity to talk to a couple different players on Samsung Galaxy. So in the wake of their upset win, let's go ahead and send it over to Shox, who has an interview with the victorious carry in the bot lane.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Ruler. Ruler, you guys were not very favored to win in this matchup because you were up against the LongZhu, the LCK champions who have been doing so well so far. Why do you think it was such a convincing win for Samsung today?
룰런스 우선 승리를 축하드리고요. 사실 많은 사람들은 LCK 1시드 팀인 롱주 팀이 이길 거라 예상했는데 많은 예상을 다 뒤엎고 승리가 놓쳤습니다. 이렇게나 압도적인 경기력으로 이길 수 있었던 원동력이 무엇이라고 생각하시나요?
일단 다전제가 되게 첫 번째 승리가 되게 중요한데 이거를 저희가 어떻게 잡아서 좀 쉽게 간 것 같기도 하고 저희가 좀 더 한타 때 집중력이 좋아서 그랬던 것 같아요.
So I think winning the first game of the best of 5 series was the most important factor, and overall I just think our team had a better focus in the team fights.
Well, you had a fantastic match as well, and that up versus Prey. What do you think of your own performance today?
특히 오늘 이제 프레이 선수 상대로 매우 정말 뛰어난 경기를 보여주셨는데요. 룰런 선수는 오늘 본인 스스로 경기를 어떻게 평가하시나요?
솔직히 첫 번째 경기 때는 제가 너무 긴장을 해서 막 한타 때도 그렇고 좀 실수하는 모습을 많이 보여드렸는데 그래도 긴장이 풀리기도 하고 이제 감독님이 너가 원딜 더 잘한다. 그러니까 그냥 열심히만 잘하기만 해라 해주셔가지고 좀 잘 풀렸던 것 같아요.
So for the first game, I was still nervous, and I think I made some small mistakes during the team fights. But after game 1, the head coach told me that you're a better ADC than pray, so have confidence in yourself, and that made me more relaxed, and I think I was able to perform even better.
Well, you definitely showed something today, and now not time for the final yet. You still have a tough semifinal coming up against either Team WE or C9. Who do you think you're going to end up playing, and what do you think towards that semifinal?
이제 4강전이 남았는데요. 4강 대진으로는 WT팀이나 C9팀이 올라올 수 있는데 어떤 팀이 올라올 것 같고 어떤 팀이 올라오길 바라시는지 말씀해 주세요.
저는 개인적으로는 W팀이 올라갈 것 같긴 한데 그리고 제가 좀 미스틱님이 선수가 원딜을 되게 잘하시잖아요. 그래서 꼭 한번 붙어보고 싶었는데 전 W팀이 그냥 올라와줬으면 좋겠어요. 올라왔으면.
So I think that WE has a higher chance to come to the semifinals. I think that Mystic is a fantastic ADC player, and I would like to play against him, and I'm really looking forward for that matchup.
Oh, fantastic. It will be a great matchup. Thank you very much, Ruler and Holman as well. What a victory by Samsung. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Sharks. What a victory and what a performance out of Ruler. Again, he had a tough task going up against the bot lane of Prey and Gorilla. And as was mentioned, he's looking ahead towards perhaps Mystic, who he's calling out as being a very, very solid ADC. So for him, big performance on the day. Definitely performing better than what you're calling the best ADC in the world.
Yes, but I want to...
Shame on you, Crumbs.
That wasn't a dig. That was just, that was the setup.
Look at you, what happened because
We know
of that.
you hate it. We know you hate it.
Never mind that all of us call him the best.
I want to highlight what he said, though, for this series, which was him thinking that the first game was the most important for the mental aspect of the game, and what the coach told him as well, that told him, you're a better AD carry than Prey. You're going to pull through. And that, to me, just shows that, hey, these games are so multifaceted that it's not the draft, it's not the execution, it's not how you communicate, but how you actually feel on the day and the trust you have with your teammates. And I think that the coaching staff really step up. If that's what I'm hearing now, I'm hopeful for Samsung in the next games.
And I think you make a really good point, because to put on a performance like this, it can never just be one thing, right? You can't just win draft. You can't just execute well with a poor draft either. It needs to be a full combination. And I think that's really what we saw from Samsung today. And honestly, I thought Ruler was being pretty humble, because I think he had an outstanding series and seriously outclassed Prey today.
But, Deficio, I want to return to that conversation now that we were having before the interview about the mid lane matchup in particular. All tournament long, we've been seeing the impact of things like the Galio and the Taliyah, along with a Shen, in affecting those side lanes, and in particular the bot lane. Well, hey, those two things get taken away from you. There are still more picks available now, as proven by Crown with the Lissandra achieving very much the same thing.
And that's the beautiful thing about these best of fives, where we had like a week to prepare, because you know a pick like Taliyah might come through. You need an answer to it. And they come up with this Lissandra here, the first time we get to see this youth doing Worlds specifically, or doing the group stage and now the bracket stage. So I like that kind of preparation, and it shows you a step ahead of the enemy team. Because clearly, there was no Lissandra answer from LongZhu. They went cleanse Orianna. They were like, I guess we just got to win mid lane really hard, or we're done. Like, Taliyah will go silence. Lissandra can follow, and that was a really good answer.
And I think especially when you're already up 2-0, it makes sense to actually take a little bit of a risk like this, because even if this composition doesn't work out, you still have 2 more chances to actually go for it. So yes, there was ways that they could have lost this. Yes, they could have perhaps got outscaled if you go to super late game, with the Lissandra and the Shen and these sorts of things, but this was an execution-based comp. They were firing so well in the first 2 games, and I think it was really intelligent to take a stab like that.
This comp is actually very similar of the first game after Rift Rivals, where Samsung comes back and 2-0s SKT clean with the exact same composition, where they had Sejuani in the jungle, Tristana in the bottom lane. Back then it was support Braum, but they run Taric instead, and then you have your mid lane with Taliyah, and the top lane was kind of like a tank and a carry with Camille. But it just shows that they are so practiced with this composition that they knew it inside and out.
Now, we're going to get to talk to Kuve in just a moment. Before we do, I want to take a look at this 4-0 fight out of Samsung Galaxy in the mid lane. They definitely had control of the team fight phase. This replay brought to you by Acer Predator.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Core JJ was so pivotal with the Taric ultimates. You know they can go aggressive with this. Ruler as well, positioning aggressively on the side. He knows that he has the support from his team, able to get so much damage out in this fight. And when he sees the opportunity to jump forward onto Prey, the game is over.
What I see here out of Samsung is immaculate communication. Nobody's going to a place where they shouldn't be. They understand, hey, one person's coming in, let's follow through, let's make sure the abilities get changed. Otherwise, that Tark Flash would have just gone haywire and not been followed through.
And I thought we saw so many good examples of that through the bot lane play, through Prey, knowing that they have, when they're going in on Prey, knowing that they have the Shen ultimate to back them up, knowing that they have the Taric ultimate to come down. They're positioning so aggressively, but it made sense within the context of their comp, within the context of what was there to back them up.
Yeah, again, also the Shen pick itself, instead of trying to beat Khan 1v1 specifically, why don't you just win bot side? Why don't you win mid lane? And you have Shen to support you every single time. And when you can trust your top laner to always be on point with the ultis whenever he's needed to do it, it doesn't matter Khan is in the top lane because, again, you just win the other sides.
Intelligent strategy with perfect execution is almost impossible
and you're 3-0.
to beat. Yeah, with that said, Shox is standing by for another interview, this time with Samsung Galaxy's top laner.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Cuvée as well, who had an absolutely amazing series, and that over Khan. So first up, Cuvée, why do you think you were able to triumph over Khan so hard today?
큐 선수 승리를 축하드리고요. 오늘 이제 상대 탑라인의 칸 선수 상대로 어떻게 그렇게 좋은 경기력으로 승리를 거둘 수 있었는지 말씀해 주세요.
아무래도 탑 같은 경우에는 상성이 좀 많이 크거든요. 그래서 제 생각에는 제이스만 없으면은 제가 상성적으로 2챔프라면 2챔프라고 그런 쪽에서 좀 많이 유리할 거라고 생각해서 이렇게 잘 된 것 같아요.
So at the top lane, I think the champion matchup is the most important factor, and I thought that as long as we ban Jace, then as long as we ban Jace, then whichever champion he picks, then I was confident that I can counter and play against him.
Okay, well, you had a great match, and so did the entire team. There were some question marks after group stage. What would you say changed in the week between we saw you last at group stage and this quarterfinal today?
삼성팀이 사실 조별 예선 때는 경기력이 최고조로 올라오진 않았는데 오늘 8강 때는 너무나 좋은 경기력으로 승리를 거두셨는데요. 조별 예선과 8강 사이 어떤 일로 어떻게 경기력을 끌어올리셨는지 궁금합니다.
아무래도 저희가 조별 예선 때 RNG한테만 졌었기 때문에 RNG가 우리하고 좀 다른 점이 분명히 있을 거라고 생각했어요. 그래서 그 부분을 찾다가 저희가 한타를 못하는 것 같다. 그냥 한타를 잘 해보자라고 해서 이렇게 잘 된 것 같아요.
So in group stage, we only lost twice to RNG. So we thought there's something that RNG has but we don't. And after analyzing, we thought that the reason was team fighting and that we just had a bad team fighting at that point. So we focused on improving our team fighting throughout the break, and yeah, the practice was pretty successful.
Yeah, and the team fights were on point today, so thank you very much. Congratulations, Cuvée. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shox. And while the entirety of Samsung stepped up to earn their spot in Shanghai, we'd like to recognize one player who was crucial in finding that series win. So player of the series is being awarded to Crown in the mid lane.
And one of the most important things when you play against LongZhu is controlling mid lane. Stop BDD from going to Khan's lane or going down to the bot lane and snowball prey. And Crown did that, especially in Game 2 and Game 3. His Talia was one of the best Talias I've ever seen in a single game. And then the Lissandra counterpick he finds as well in the third game.
But it's also one of the most important things out of Samsung last year when they had that great run to finals. It was off the back of Crown being such an impressive mid laner with his Victor, just showing up now, the Talia, his pick, and innovating on top of that.
You've got to say, even with the Malzahar game, obviously went pretty poorly early on, but he was able to get back into the game. Thanks to some help from BDD, but all to his credit, he did very well in the team fights later. He was able to help him control around Baron. He was a very significant factor, even in game number 1.
And I think his story during the summer split is so interesting because it was a really bad split from Crown's side. Like, a lot of teams found success in camping him, killing him early. Ambition would never help him. Samsung would just lose mid-control. The fact he's bouncing back now for Worlds is so important because he can be and he will be one of the best mid laners in the world.
Took the words out of my mouth in a sense because I was going to talk about this guy's journey throughout his career has had many ups and downs, and for him to have, you know, a setback in the summer split, but be returning to form at just the right time, you know, looking to eclipse their finals performance from last year.
Like, it was so bad during summer that they had to legitimately give up picks like Zach and Caitlyn to first pick his only viable mid laner, which was Orianna at the time. He had one champion that he was not chain feeding on like 4 weeks ago, and now, well, he just smothers BDD.
Only fitting then that we hear from the man himself, who's standing by with Shox to discuss his win.
Thank you very much, guys. And how could I not talk to Crown after that monster performance? Crown, your AD carry ruler said that a lot changed for you guys after game 1. You realized you could take it. Could you tell me how you felt before the series and how that changed for you as the series went on and after that game 1?
이전 인터뷰에서 룰러 선수가 1경기 이후에 많은 팀원들이 긴장을 풀고 더욱 좋은 경기력을 보여줬다고 얘기하셨는데요. 크라운 선수는 이제 경기 시작 전이랑 경기 진행하면서 마음가짐이 어떻게 변했는지 말씀해 주세요.
저는 경기 시작 전부터 계속 그냥 시작 전이 아니라 며칠 전부터 그냥 준비하면서도 그냥 떨어지면 떨어지는 거고 올라가면 좋은 거고 약간 그런 식으로 마음을 비우고 해서 별로 긴장도 없었고 뭐 흥분도 별로 되지 않는 대신 이제 이기니까 엄청 기분은 좋은 것 같습니다. 네.
So before the match, even a couple days before, I thought that I shouldn't be too attached to the results, but just put my best into it. So I wasn't too nervous coming to the series, but definitely winning feels much better right now.
Well, when I talked to you at the group stage, you were very careful about thinking about a possible final or going further. But how would you say your confidence is now that you've beat BDD and beat the LCK champions that were rumored to maybe win the whole thing?
조별 예선 때 인터뷰에서 결승전 가고 더욱더 좋은 성적을 거두겠다 말씀하셨는데 이제는 실질적으로 LCK 1시드 팀 롱주 팀 꺾고 BDD를 꺾은 상황에서는 더욱더 자신감이 있을 것 같은데요. 지금 현 크라운 선수랑 삼성팀의 자신감이 어떨지 말씀해 주세요.
지금 저 개인적인 저의 뭐 자신감 이런 거는 딱히 없는 것 같아요. 그냥 어떤 상대를 만나도 내가 최선을 다 했으면은 뭐 저도 상관없고 이겨도 상관없어 약간 그런 마인드라서 그런 뭐 자신감 부분은 잘 모르겠어요. 그냥 그리고 뭐 저희 나머지 팀원들은 뭐 다 오늘 승리를 하기 전도 그렇고 하고 후도 굉장히 자신감이 오른 것 같습니다. 네.
So for me personally, I think my mindset is the same as group stage. That I just think regardless of who I play against and what the result is, I should just put my best into it. And for my teammates, I'm sure that their confidence is way higher compared to the group stage as we beat LongZhu.
Okay, finally, maybe you're always very careful in talking, but are you at least a bit proud of what you showed today? Because you had a monster performance, Crown.
사실 크라운 선수는 항상 되게 겸손한 모습으로 많은 그런 인터뷰를 하셨는데요. 그래도 오늘은 롱주 팀을 꺾고 정말 좋은 경기를 보여주셨는데 본인 스스로에게 그래도 좀 좋은 평가를 내려도 되지 않을까요?
뭐 게임 전체적인 부분에서는 괜찮은 플레이를 좀 했다고 생각은 하는데 그래도 이제 뭐 1대1 상황이나 2대2 상황이나 이런 부분에선 실수가 많았기 때문에 뭐 좀 자신감 부분은 자신감? 네. 그런 부분은 좀 떨어지는 것 같아요. 네, 이런 부분 인터뷰에서는. 네.
So even though I might have played a somewhat good performance for this series, I still think that I made some mistakes during the 1v1 and 2v2 small fights. So since there's area of improvement, I still want to be a bit more humble during interviews.
All right, always humble but always performing. Thank you very much, Crown. Congratulations, and back over to you guys.
Wants to be more humble, but definitely doesn't need to be more humble. I mean, he played like a monster today, deserved every moment of the spotlight that he's receiving right now.
And yet he's the kind of player who can always find one or two mistakes, being like, that could have been slightly better. I mean, he had such a great game, and one of the main reasons they actually get this 3 series. He should be super proud.
Yeah, well, okay, 3-0 series. Let's also remember that this is how Samsung Galaxy started their run in the knockout stages just last year. 3-0 first series in the quarterfinals, 3-0 in the semifinals. Looking strong, looking only to get stronger.
To be fair, though, it was such an easier bracket last year.
It was C9.
Going up against Cloud9, and then it was the H2K semifinals who had beaten ANX. So people were like, it's just kind of a free path to finals for Samsung. The real finals was Rocks versus SKT. It's going to be easy, once you actually get to that grand final, but they pushed it to game 5. They almost took it that year. This year, coming in again, we've
Welcome to Guangzhou, China for Worlds 2017. You join us as we open the next chapter of the tournament live from our new home for the quarterfinals, the Guangzhou Gymnasium. 8 teams remain in the battle for the Summoners Cup, and only one best of 5 separates them from experiencing Shanghai on the stage or in the stands. And as you can see, we've moved cities, and the fandom has followed. The Chinese crowd proving to be a very loud one here in Guangzhou. two teams battling it out today. Let's send it over to Rangdon here in Guangzhou Gymnasium to introduce the teams as they take the stage.
大家好，我是任栋。接下来，让我们一起请出2017英雄联盟全球总决赛4分之一决赛的2支战队，欢迎战队登场。首先，让我们欢迎的是红方来自于 LCK 赛区的三星战队
Samsung Galaxy. Challenging perhaps the tournament favorites today, but let's not forget that they were finalists just last year.
打野 Ambition， 中路 Crown， 下路 Ruler， 辅助 CoJJ。同样欢迎他们的教练吴邦川以及替补打野 Haro。再次感谢三星战队的到来。接着，让我们欢迎的是蓝色方 LCK 1号种子LongZhu战队。
And the tournament favorites, the only regional 1 seed to qualify through to the knockout stage with a 6-0 dominating group stage performance.
上路看，打野 Kurtz， 中路 BDD， 下路 Prey， 辅助 Gorilla。同样欢迎他们的教练江苏 Kim 以及替补上单 Raska。再一次感谢LongZhu战队的到来。英雄智主传奇，比赛现在开始。
LongZhu and Samsung Galaxy, the first two teams to take to the stage here in Guangzhou for the quarterfinals. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson, joined by my day one quarterfinal crew, Martin DeFischer Lunga, Alberto Crums Rengifo, and Isaac Azeo Cummings. Bentley, we've moved cities. I'm glad to see y'all made it. No one missed their flights, but how are we doing? We ready for some knockout action?
I'm pretty ready. Like, looking at this one, LongZhu versus Samsung. A lot of people favor LongZhu, but I mean, Samsung here, they will show up, I think at least. They will at least bring something to the table.
What we know is that on the day, anything can happen. It was proved during group stages. You do get a best-of-5 here to prove it. We'll see what happens. It's not just us delivering you the next stage of Worlds, though. We're joined by our international broadcast partners who help to bring the action to regions all across the globe. And as we enter the next stage of Worlds, let's go ahead and get an update on the championship prize pool. The stakes have been raised thanks to you guys at home. Currently, the total prize stands above $4 million with more than $1.8 million drawn from Championship Ash and Ward sales. A reminder that 25% of those sales will continue to add to the prize pool, with another 25% being added to charity. Now you can add to the competition by raising money, or while rather raising money for a good cause by picking up your in-game swag today. As we move into the best-of-5s, let's get a reminder of how the knockout stage draw played out. First up, we've got our best-of-5 today, which pits LongZhu versus Samsung Galaxy. Then Misfits hope to continue their Worlds run as they face the reigning champions, SK Telecom T1. Rounding out the top side of the bracket, RNG take to the stage opposite Fnatic, with Team WE squaring off against Cloud9 on the final day of quarters.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really good match. It's crazy to think, as you said, this is a finalist from last year. Everyone is saying that LongZhu should smash it, but Samsung has shown that their preparation is excellent, and I'm very excited for the game today.
Without a doubt, 4 exciting best-of-5s on our way as stakes continue to rise at the World Championship. Here are some of the players that we believe will be fundamental in finding success in Guangzhou. Here are our best of the rip, brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. For quarterfinals, it's Samsung Galaxy's top laner Kuve, SKT's Huni, Fnatic's mid laner Caps, and Team WE's Mystic. First up, playing today, it's Samsung Galaxy's Kuve.
And Cube has been one of the best top laners in the LCK, arguably the best top laner here in the tournament, playing a lot of carries. However, this tournament, he just has not had enough time to shine through. So if Samsung is going to put up that fight against LongZhu today, it's going to come off the back of him and his team enabling him.
And I think because Khan plays all those carry top laners, Kuve is someone with that high variance coming out of Khan on those carries who could take over a game and could be that star who changes the series.
He was a top performer for the team last year. They're going to need him to be this year if they want to move on in the tournament. Next, we have SKT's Huni, who's been silently pressuring the top lane for the reigning champs.
Yeah, and I've been very impressed with Huni so far because he gets a lot of time in the side lanes to get a lot of resources, and he's using them very well. He's getting towers. He's also joining teamfights being extremely strong because, again, he is so farmed. And the fact that Huni is going back to the style we used to see from SKT back at MSI and also back in Springs, but where he can be more of a carry, actually benefits him, gives him another weapon.
He's also shown the ability to pull off the split push styles when you think about against Cloud9, getting solo kills on impact, taking down turrets, taking down inhibitors. He has been able to flex his muscles in those side lanes as well as the team fights.
Now alongside Huni is Fnatic's Caps, who was crucial in allowing his team to pull off the miracle run out of groups.
One of the new European mid laners obviously came into Fnatic here this year and have actually been doing much better doing Worlds than I expected. I thought there would still be issues for him in terms of decision making or being over aggressive when he shouldn't be it. He's actually done really well, especially week 2. I love the synergy we're starting to see between him and the rest of the team, and he's so important for Fnatic.
Oh, he's so important to the point that every time that they have a win, his stats go through the roof, but every time a loss, Caps just doesn't seem to be there, so the team is quite bipolar in their performance, and it hinges on him.
Perhaps the linchpin for success for that squad. Joining Caps is another player who was able to make the run from play-ins to quarters. It's Team WE's Mystic.
And it's been all uphill since the play-in. Mystic has been getting better week in, week out. WE plays so heavily through the bot lane that their success is based on this player, and he has been crushing it in lane, best CSD in the tournament for a bot lane marksman, and he's so good in the mid and late game team fights as well.
Good enough to make the final?
Good enough to make semifinal.
I guess it's something. It's something.
All right, there's the call. I don't have to ask you for your prediction then when that series comes around. We'll see if these players can book a trip to Shanghai this weekend. From the first CS to the Flame Horizon, you can follow the best of the Rift in more places than ever before. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Now, as we look towards our matches this weekend, it's important to point out that we saw a significant addition to the world's meta towards the end of Week 2 groups in Caitlyn.
Exactly. Caitlyn came in because a lot of dual lanes were playing, like Relic Shield AD carries. Twitch was in there as well, then Janna Lulu. So you had these super bad early game dual lanes that you could really punish with a strong laner. So Caitlyn made it back into the meta because she can push, she can take towers, and these supports like Janna and Lulu can't really engage on her and punish her.
And she's been so effective as kind of that bot lane counter pick, 4-0 in the tournament so far, always picked as an answer, not blind so far. And when people are going full late game, you can swing the game completely around, push for these siege comps, and just crush through your opponents, get enormous gold leads before they're ever ready to fight.
Well, we did hear that Caitlyn seemed to be so oppressive that people were either banning it or just having to first pick it, but I do think that we're going to see some variation where teams figure out, just as Caitlyn was an answer to the late game meta, what is now the answer to the Caitlyn? We have Ashe, we have Varus, which today is going to happen as Prey and Ruler love those two picks.
Or we might see some teams say, okay, we need a really strong mid laner that can push and roam down to the bottom lane, because Caitlyn will, of course, overextend when she's trying to hit that tower. But you got to find an answer, because right now, she's on average 1,500 gold ahead of the other AD carry at 15 minutes. That's crazy.
So let's remember that last year, it was the MF support pick that came out in response to Zyra during the knockout stages of Worlds. The question is, what would be the response here to a Caitlyn pick?
Well, the Ashe right now seems to be the one that is the #1 pick into it. She's got a great laning phase, and you typically force a cleanse out of your bottom lane because you don't want to get engaged on, so you do hinder that 2v2 potential, and you also slow down her pushing, as she has to be more aware of Ashe.
I definitely want to see Varus also as one of the picks being used against it, and as I said as well, you need some sort of aggression from your mid and jungle, so that when this Caitlyn is just permanent pushing, you can actually go down and gank her and kill her, and then if you kill her once or twice in lane, all her value is kind of gone because she's not killing that tower, and her mid game is extremely weak.
Also very excited to see if the Caitlyn is going as one of those early picks, what else is going to change? You know, if people are bringing in Ashe, that's less damage from the rest of your comp. You know, you don't have that hyper carry in the late game, so maybe you need more damage junglers, more damage tops, and the complete meta can shift.
With this in mind, let's focus in on today's matchup. We've got Samsung Galaxy versus LongZhu, and we have to remember, rather, that both of these teams played before that Caitlyn pick even made its showing.
And they've played even further than that. All summer long in the LCK, they have battled it out, and they have split series. But if you kept track of how these games have gone by, it has been all an upswing for LongZhu. And BDD here, or rather Prey, has been one of the pillars for this team as he allows the backbone of the team to be so strong that Khan and Cuz can just take over with BDD.
And even in the final season, final split of the LCK, you know, they did 2-0 Samsung. They looked extremely dominant there, and you know, Samsung had struggles in groups. LongZhu did not. They've been looking so good.
All right, well, we talk about the differences in styles between these two teams, right? Samsung Galaxy, LongZhu. Let's hash that out a bit.
Well, we have Samsung, who is a very defensive team. They want to not do too many things in the early game, not take big risk, and then go to late game and try and win through big late game team fights, or you maybe messing up at Baron and they punish you. LongZhu, on the other hand, it's much more focused on the early game, try and be more aggressive, get the advantages, especially also through the top lane, and that's why Cuvee is one of the guys we're looking at now on the screen, because he's one of the answers to LongZhu's way of playing in the early game.
And every time Cuvee and Khan have faced off, it actually has been the one time that Khan can't really just match this lane. He has been able to keep up. At times, he's been able to actually do the reverse to Khan and just win games off him. So this matchup is so crucial for both these teams to allow them to have a strong pick, a strong 2v2 in the jungle, and then snowball the game early on. That's where I think it's going to be dictated.
I mean, that said, within this tournament, Khan seems to be the one guy that has an answer to everything, right? We saw the Nash's pick come out in the face of a Maokai, so has an answer to the tanks, is willing to play the carries. It's a tough task, right, to go up against a guy of this caliber.
I mean, that's a problem when you play against LongZhu, and they are like superstar players in every single lane at the moment. But still, Khan, he is a guy who will overextend. And I think if you have like a very active jungler in this game here from Samsung, if you have Cuvee on a good champion who can actually punish Khan, you can definitely try and shut him down when he is split pushing and get that top lane advantage.
All right, well, with those factors in mind, who do you think is going to be the first team to book a trip to Shanghai? Down the line, Officio, starting with you.
I'm going LongZhu. I was originally on 3-0 for LongZhu, but I went back, I looked even more at Samsung, and I'm like, you know what, it's a 3-1.
Okay.
Why I think stylistically LongZhu actually counters a lot of what Samsung wants to do, because you got to shut down LongZhu early. Samsung can't really do it. I do think they have at least one game where they get a counter pick top maybe and get Cuvee rolling. Maybe they get a Caitlyn bot lane and they can win bot side. Or they just have the better late game team fight and they actually stall it past 40 minutes. But again, it's one game only.
Looking at preparation from Samsung Galaxy to buy them a win somewhere. All right, Crumbs, what are you thinking?
I'm actually with the Fishy on this as well. I was initially 3-0, but then 3-1 because not just preparation. We've only really seen one best of 5 series from LongZhu, and when they typically faltered, especially against Samsung, it has been in that draft when they kind of overstep their boundaries and Samsung punishes it. So I think that they're going to be able to do that again. It's best of 5. It's going to happen one time at least.
A sliver of hope given to the Samsung Galaxy roster from these guys. Azale, what do you think?
I'm breaking the trend from the rest of these sheeple. I think it's still going to be a 3-0, and it's because of what Martin actually talked about. Yes, you can get, I think, a counter pick or a good matchup for Cuvee in the top lane, but it's dependent on the 2v2. Ambition has 0 kills and 0 assists in 75 minutes of gameplay pre-15 this tournament. That is abysmal, and when you talk about that jungle at 2v2, he's not doing anything in the early game. I feel like he needs to get involved in the early game for them to have any chance. So unless Ambition can show some serious change here, I think LongZhu gets ahead early and they run away with it.
All right, well, that's what our analysts had to say. And if we look at how the pick'ems played out, LongZhu were chosen to come out ahead in 83% of all of the pick'ems. So it seems to be mirrored in the community sentiment. All right. Well,
great job, everyone.
So proud of you guys. With the riff set, let's send it over to Freak, Papa Smithy, and Kobe to bring us into our first quarterfinal match.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the caster desk. My name is David Freak Turley, joined here with 2 amazing people over on the far side, Chris Papa Smithy Smith, and to my right most closely, Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler. How you guys doing?
Extremely excited. I finally get to be an LCK caster with Papa Smithy here.
We get to cast good teams.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm not sure about the predictions, though. Very one-eyed predictions. LongZhu 3-1, LongZhu 3-0. Kind of the story when you talk to basically anyone around Worlds has been LongZhu's dominance. And I'm in that weird spot where I'm like, okay, LongZhu, probably the best early game team at the group. They also been the team that has come back from the biggest deficit. So 1 + 1 = 2 LongZhu victory, I can understand. But Samsung Galaxy's ability to craft new compositions, to innovate, to rise to big games, the KT 3-0 that got them here to Worlds, beating SKT 2-0 after Rift Rivals, after both SKT and Samsung were called into question for their losses at that tournament. They can get themselves up for big games, and this is the definition of a big game.
Exactly. Best of fives are a completely different story, and that innovation that you're talking about is exactly what we want to see from this Samsung squad, because as a lot of the predictions are pointing towards, this is definitely a LongZhu favored series. And this is definitely a very big opponent to try and take down this early.
And it's also the one series where, remember, it is Korea versus Korea. These teams have faced in the LCK, as the analyst desk talked about. It's not just going to be Worlds meta. There is going to be the fact that Cuvée, of all top laners in Korea, actually was the one to step up to the plate and make life hard for Khan in the top side. Smeb couldn't do it. Other great top laners like Huni couldn't do it. Cuvée was the best performing top laner against him. So there is still even individual matchups that could swing in the favor of Samsung.
Absolutely. I mean, Cuvée is absolutely an exceptional player. He's the most long-standing member of this iteration of Samsung Galaxy. He's been there since the 2015,
They were dark times, Freak, dark times.
Well, I understand they were dark times, but he's stuck around and he's become such an incredible talent. He's been a widely respected top laner, both within Korea and internationally. Samsung Galaxy were world finalists and 1 game away from winning the entire thing last time. Same starting 5 as that finalist against SKT. See if they can do it here.
LongZhu coming in the 1 seed, had choice of selection for game 1. Very interestingly, you note they are not on red side. LongZhu famously, you think, really worried about that last pick on the red side as a Khan counter pick. They've actually chosen blue. So are they trying to prioritize something? It is interesting to note that of all teams, LongZhu have chosen blue when they have the option.
And interesting as well, coming out very early on with the Galio ban here, that is something that VDD has used extremely effectively. And he has only, besides that, played the Taliyah, played the Rise here at the World Championship so far. These roaming champions and really affecting the rest of the map very early on. The mid lane matchup is definitely one that should be highlighted here.
Definitely loves to cut top side with a global, with a semi-global, and help those advantageous pushing matchups for Khan. But there will be last pick for the side of Samsung, and one of those big picks for Khan, of course, the Jace, is actually a first-round ban. They don't want to deal with it at all.
Yeah, it's fun looking at the difference in play styles, of course, of all these players. You talk about a couple of one marksman being down 2 of the supports as well. Zaya grabbed up right away. Of course, you can never give away Zaya Rakan as a duo.
Yeah, Zaya Rakan definitely want to break that one up. Talking to the teams for a very long time, for months and months, Zaya and Rakan has been the power couple that you cannot really give over here. Interesting that we do have some bottom lane focus super early on, because as they highlighted earlier with the AR display, Prey and Gorilla are such a huge part of how LongZhu win, but they're not the big carries of the team that demand a lot of resources like people usually think of when you think of star players. Send all the early ganks there, get them fed and carry. Part of their biggest strength is that they demand almost no early game resources.
That definitely means they shoot up the tier list, as you say, because the jungler never goes there, and yet they win, or at worst go even. Speaking of junglers, this is the CC duo. We actually, Rakan and Sejuani, very highly prioritized on the side of Samsung. Note that it was actually taken over the Jarvan that we well know is a flex pick for the side of LongZhu.
There are so many synergies with this combination here. Rakan does get to stack those Sejuani passive stacks up as well, and the 2 initiators really work well off of each other. This is very promising, honestly.
Hey! No! LongZhu gonna buck the trend. Only Misfits so far, since the group stage, have opted out of an ardent sense of support. LongZhu saying, you know what, Misfits, Europe, we like what you've done here. Aggro supports it is.
Yeah, banning away the Janna, of course, expecting a Lulu answer and taking the Thresh, one of the famous picks for Gorilla. Played this in the grand final of the LCK, won MVP, was a carry performance on the Thresh, and this is already a different draft than we would have imagined.
This is very exciting and very heartening. Gorilla always is talking about how he loves being on the front lines. He's a playmaker. Him and Prey are the senior members of this squad, and if they get to have their hands on the crowd control, on the initiation tools, then it removes that split second where you have to have that extra layer of communication about going for engagement.
Yeah, a disengaged support meta was one of the few things when you're evaluating LongZhu pre-tournament, you're like, wait, Gorilla can't do the initiating. The rookie Cuz has to come in and be an initiator. Maybe that'll hurt them. Certainly didn't in the group stage. They got to 6-0, but it could have been a hiccup in a high-pressure best-of-5. Small note, this is actually only Cuz's second career best-of-5. Khan also to BDD3. Certainly not best-of-5 experience to speak about for most of LongZhu.
All right, let's catch up a little bit on the bans coming through here as LongZhu are targeting the top lane. And remember, when Jarvan is picked early for LongZhu, that has usually been a Khan champion when Khan is in the game. I mean, we're always used to
it's like 15-1 Khan versus Cuz playing the champion.
Exactly. That's why more of these jungle bans, the Gragas ban here from Samsung did come in because they're very much assuming that it's going to be a top lane Jarvan.
So you'll see a Malzahar, not the first time Crown has played it. It's a blocker pick to Ryze, which has been BDD's go-to mid laner. He has traditionally been playing a lot of Ryze once that's semi-global. If he does go with the Syndra, they already have Rakan, who's one of the best at those immobile threats and shutting them down. There's Sejuani as well. We'll go for Syndra for the laning matchup, but denied roam potential from mid, which is almost always a core tenet of a LongZhu victory.
At the very least, we're definitely going to get a new champion for BDD here at World Championship. Syndra is locked in.
Blind Jax in the top lane for Khan. We were promised he'd play the champion. He'd played it about 5 times in Korea this split. Finally brings it out to Worlds.
And he blind picked it in this same setup on blue side against Samsung in that deciding last game of the season. Laning focus here for sure. So he went away from the Chogats, the Maokais. We're going straight for the skill matchups, and Jax blind. Oh boy.
What even is the metagame anymore? This is exciting. Ken and Jax top lane, no Ardent Sensor on the blue side. I love Korea.
Things get so interesting so quickly here with these last 2 picks because Kennen with this range matchup against Jax are going to want to try and abuse that earlier. So immediately our eyes are turning towards that the top triangle of the map. And you would think that both bottom lanes will be operating without jungle pressure, which as we said before is where Prey and Gorilla have shined through. Now it's going to be a lot about will Ambition actually be able to step up in that early game? As they talked about on the analyst side, he hasn't created much early on, but a Kennen pick into a Jax, you need to.
And it's not only about Cuz when you're trying to evaluate the helpers on the side of LongZhu, because we've had a meta where it was disengaged and Khan was kind of caught on Jarvan duty, on more traditional picks outside of the Nasus. You bring in Thresh and suddenly the roam potential is there from Gorilla. You can open up some more of the carry picks. He's going back to that carry pool. This is the Khan we saw in Korea. Let's see if it can be vintage Khan in game 1 of this series.
Well, we saw Khan in Korea. We actually saw him drop to a Kuve Kennen game a while ago, back the first time they lost the team. So we'll see what it comes down to on this one. It's going to be all kinds of fun watching both these squads go at the best of 5. I want to see if it's ability power or attack damage Kennen. AP buff, AP build got buffed partway through the summer split. We've seen a fair bit of that in Korea, but not a lot other places. So definitely excited to see what flavor we get from both these teams here in game 1 of this best of 5. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, and ladies and gentlemen, quarterfinal 1 of the 2017 League of Legends World Championship starting right now. Best of 5, winner makes top 4, and it is the South Korean champions of LongZhu Gaming taking on the former Worlds runner-ups, Samsung Galaxy.
And my favorite sub-story of this Worlds is how fast the patch adaptations have happened. We've been on 719 the entire time, but the meta has evolved every week. The analyst desk was talking about the Caitlyn quick push, the lane priority we saw on the last 2 days of the group stage was actually after these 2 teams played. They, in secret, have been able to evaluate that meta and also innovate. The carries are back, the Thresh is back. It seems if Lulu Jana are off the board, people are starting to roll the dice with some more creative stuff.
With us in spirit, at least, the TSM chants out of the Chinese crowd. Love how they've been so far at Worlds. One thing I also find very interesting is you talk about teams reacting to the metagame and preparing for it. I wonder how much of this was pre-planned in the first place, saying we're going to save our strategies until tougher opponents. And they knew all along what the real champions should be. They said, all these Janna picks, that's cute. Bandit, of course, they did here. But either way, kind of strategy.
I was going to say, not really fair if Jen and Lulu are both banned.
Of course.
Oh, they didn't pick Jen and Lulu.
But Tarek and Ivern and Nidalee and these other Ardent Sensors, of course, have been seeing a lot of play. So certainly, I agree, both these teams seem to give them a lot of respect. But off those top 2, the world seems to open up.
All right, bottom lane start here for both junglers, and they both get those bottom lane pulls. So they very well could end up early presence on the top side, the action where we're looking for. The thing about this Kennen pick is, you know, yes, you can you go for auto attack, harassment, then drop into a brush to try and drop your minion aggro and try and zone off early. But if Jax does get those ganks early on from a Jarvan, he's well equipped to interrupt Kennen quite frequently. And if you get that early kill, snowballing definitely becomes very, very difficult to deal with later on.
It was actually Jax versus Nara in that final matchup. It's kind of a similar matchup, really, if you think about it. Early ganks, level 3. It's actually level 2 coming through from Cuz here.
As you can see, totally suspected here from Samsung with the early ward. They see Cuz make his visit over, and Ambition should know that he's coming through to the jungle to look for him as well. That's why he's pulling the Raptors back into a very safe territory over here. And even with the machete start, he is going for the small Raptors.
A lot of punishment coming through from Cuz as well. Gets him down to 200 HP. Ambition's got to be a bit careful, but no cooldowns available means he can't chase any farther. No kill to be had. Takes away about half the Raptor camp.
And this is LongZhu. What I noticed the most looking over their VODs is they play around priority the best of any team at this tournament. You know that if they have a pushing mid lane and a pushing top lane at whatever time in the game, right now at 3 minutes, you know Cuz will invade, get down deep vision, challenge Ambition. Actually, a small surprise I had was one thing I wanted to see Samsung adjust around their level 1s is that every time they play with Ambition, it's been a 5-point defense. They've never invaded for early wards. When you have a potentially high gank top laners, a lot of harass goes over to Crown. I thought they'd look for information about the Jarvan, but they only got it late after he started invading Samsung's jungle.
Right now, Crown can feel a bit safe. Right now, BDD is out of mana, so that threat is much lower. With 200 health, he should be completely fine. His reflexes should be enough to flash right for any Jarvan gank, so Crown will be allowed to lane, but he is down far. Oh, I take it back! One more auto would have killed him, but he didn't have the wind-up available. BDD gonna force Crown out of lane. He has TP to get back, but that is a nice early lead with a giant farm lead, 25-12.
And there was a laundry list of things for Samsung to realistically be able to stake a claim against LongZhu, and Crown stepping up, returning to his spring levels was something we were looking for and already getting heavily pressured in lane.
And if you talk about returning to previous tendencies, yes, everybody's been all about praising BDD for roaming around the map, creating other plays, and he's really embraced that Talia and Galio meta. But this guy, so much of the excitement around him early on was about bullying his lane and crushing people in the 1v1. Now that he has Syndra, it's on display.
Kobe, that was my struggle when it came to the top 20 players, when it came to LongZhu being right there in the top 6. How do you order them? Because this guy, the Zed God from these famous highlight plays before he turned 17, lane priority on CJ into roaming on LongZhu. You couldn't give him the benefit of the doubt because he hadn't shown that style working. He played some Zed, but they'd lost those games. So seeing him now focus on lane is a new BDD, and if he does that just as well, oh boy, it's going to be fun.
Continued dominance in the mid lane. Ambition coming around the backside. The 200 health left on Crown. A bit of slows on a BDD. He's going to back out safely enough. Lane stays alive, but it's getting harder and harder for the Samsung Galaxy mid laner.
Remember something that will become important as well, trying to clear out those Voidlings. They're very easy now after a couple of the nerfs to Malzahar were aimed at trying to take that power away from the support position. So just a couple of extra damage there will save you in many situations.
But remember, Crown teleported back to lane with an early back and then got DPS'd out by just Syndra and had to Ambition come and help him push. He doesn't want to have to back a second time, but it's a second back in the first 5 minutes for the Malzahar.
Here we go. Cuz has perfect timer on the Raptor camp since he was able to finish that one off Ambition's first time around. And the second clear of a Raptor camp, very important in trying to keep down a jungler. Ambition happened to just soak up that mid lane farm that you were talking about, Crown missing. However, Crown definitely going to be behind experience now, and that is a bad thing versus a Syndra who's looking to bully.
Spotted by the ward on the way, and you can look back at the top lane right here where Khan took an early recall for some extra potions. Boots in his Doran shield and all that. Now to the top side, looking for a bit more. His stun's not available for a few more seconds, though. Kube still trying to run away. Should not be anything more to chase with. Lands his stun, gets some damage back, and Cuz, that half health could be in a counter game if he stays around. You've got the Sejuani coming around. They did see Ambition earlier on a ward.
This is all very expected pathing for Cuz early on. If you look at not only the team tendencies, but also the champion select. Remember, early on, we're talking about the top lane triangle here, which does include mid lane. It's these bullying lanes for LongZhu. So Cuz has basically just been between mid and top, keeping up those pressure for these guys to try and nullify the area of control here for Samsung.
And pressure's kind of been a dirty word for Ambition. Even when his team has had priority, he hasn't been doing little moments like you saw where he'll go and push in, try to get some vision, put down deep wards. He's actually just been focusing on farming, playing very defensively, even when his laners are doing good. Certainly not going to say that with the mid lane.
Flashes in, go! He knew the damage. BDD gets a solo kill the third time around, pushing Crown out of lane.
There's no teleport for him to get back afterwards. He gets the kill with almost a double stacked minion wave here. BDD absolutely in control of this game. This opens up Cuz to go steal away the blue buff, and Samsung are bleeding very early on.
Hype levels can only increase around BDD. One split at the top level, but already being able to solo down Crown, who's really had no answer. 2 camps easily. Sejuani, she has to be second to rotate. She has to take her time. No mid laner to help her out, and her bot lane under turret for almost the entirety of the laning phase.
And we talked so much about Samsung trying to struggle through the early game here and how that would be important in their winning in this series. But there's an Infernal Drake as well, and that is now going to be in LongZhu control because of this play right here.
Knowing your damage output is so important. You can see about 500 health. Flashes for the Q, already was in range, buffered the ultimate. Super clean, and Crown's face tells a story.
Yep, going to be able to pick up that spear that was previously down from the harassment for the extra damage there. And Crown shoves a wave, tries to immediately back here. Needs as many combat effective items as he could possibly scrounge together there, so he goes for the null magic mantle just to try and survive further.
I mean, there's not greed on either side. It was a Merc Treads rush after using his flash for BDD. He has the cleanse. You could understand going for something in the mana regen side, going for the Lost Chapter, going for the mana sustain, but he's just going to go for the safety because he knows AP Cannon, which is what we expect now. We already see the Hextech finish, the Sejuani and the Malzahar. Burst is a real possibility onto the center.
Now the mid lane, the flashless Crown has no way out of the punishment here. Cataclysm finally drops down, but a few more shots will do it. Not going to stay in range, though. Can't quite get the kill on the Crown. Look for the next play onto the bot lane. Not going to come through here either.
Yeah, I believe there's a few more seconds. Yeah, BDD's ultimate just comes up now. So, yes, the positioning was good for that gank, but he didn't quite have a timer on his ultimate to finish him off. Still, he's in a weakened state right now, though.
Right, Crown's at 600 health, and ulti could almost kill him. Of course, across the wall, they're going to go for this one. He's going to wait for the stun to land. Ulti pops across. Not enough to kill. Cleanse Blade, the second stun comes in, and that's going to be BDD. Falling Ambition was waiting for the play, and the first time of Worlds 2017, Ambition does anything pre-15, he gets an assist for Crown.
And if you're going to compliment the young prodigy mid laner on the good moments, also have to call out the double turret shot. Unnecessary. First thought was to go back aggressive, get the trade kill. Wasn't able to get that, and cleaned up by Ambition.
Yeah, definitely BDD overextending there, and it was a bit too good to be true for him. You have to respect at least the comeback potential there of all the crowd control. You mentioned, yes, all the magic damage on Samsung, and that's one reason for the Merc Treads early. Again, all the CC here does give options for Samsung trying to create plays like that.
Thing is, there was partial respect. They warded the Raptor camp itself, but it was Ambition across the other side of the trees, the other spot he could have easily hit in. Of course, they did guess wrong. Okay, shame on BDD, not counting all the options, but he had covered one of his 2 bases. There's that ward, and he's like, maybe I'm safe here.
All that being said, you do have to respect, like, this is suppression from Malzahar, and he knows this crowd control is coming, and he wants to save his cleanse for the cleansable, stuns from Ambition, and he wanted to go in for those turret shots because he, this time around, thought he would be able to calculate with 1 extra spear to get the kill again. Not going to be the case. Then he also uses his E backwards there, doesn't hit Ambition, and looks a little bit funny.
And it's not really an escape rope from the laning phase either. You still notice that it's about 37, around 40 CS down for Crown. It was kill credit also over to Ambition, so it's not bailed out yet. He's going to need a couple more of those to rescue him from what has been a painful laning phase on the side of Samsung in the mid lane.
You talk about painful landing phases, and you'd feel like Jackson to Kenna would be rough, but Khan holding on pretty nicely, only down 9, but Ambition now wants to make it a bit more difficult. Looking for the top lane play. Kube pulls Zago first, ulti comes across, trying to dodge the auto attack, but will it be enough for Samsung? Galaxy could be holding aggro, letting Ambition go for the duel, but he can't do enough damage. Gonna try again, but he pulls aggro, and Khan could pick him up. One more attack will slay him. The pass are gonna try to time out. Oh, but Ambition charges him back for it, and a 2-0 start for the Samsung jungler.
And the trade on the bottom lane for LongZhu here is going to be rushing down for the first turret gold bonus. Samsung, though, they did clean up the top lane kill, even though it was messy.
No flash available for Khan. Would have flashed for an auto, probably got the kill, but no cooldown on the Q either. Nice map movements means they do pick up the first turret blood, but it's going to be an answering turret for Samsung.
That lane priority going to keep that 350 extra gold from first turret on the LongZhu side, but this game you can see now only 600 apart. And who would have guessed Samsung Galaxy to actually have the strong enough early game that they're actually up, or at least close, up in kills at the very least against LongZhu.
And it's always weird because I see this team obviously the most of anyone here, and I notice them, and there are still one-off games for Samsung. It's not really rhyme and rhythm to it. 1 out of every 10 games, Ambition is super active in the early game. It's usually the Rex side, but here he comes in. He knows Khan's flash is down. They trust on the damage. It almost lets him down.
Well, watch how Khan plays this too, because the beginning is so good. He dodges the first Winter's Wrath here. The second part does so much more damage. Well, let's jump into live though.
There's no turret. What are they going to find on this one? Korte going to wait to try to find someone to jump to. Does get over the wall. No stun going to land just yet. A pretty mechanically strong escape, but 2 flashes down for the Samsung Galaxy duo. BDD use his.
BDD flashing in there, unnecessary, but you can see he's feeling the momentum. He wants to capitalize and course correct after his death earlier. They will return, and in all of this, there was an extra kill to Samsung on the top side. On the bot side, the Infernal Drake was taken for the side of LongZhu. Still is an objective, and they contest the blue as well.
All right, we need to reset a little bit here and revisit some of the things that Samsung can utilize to pry this game open, because again, so much of it was Samsung getting through the early game to the late game where they can try and construct these team fights. And again, in Champ Select, they brought so many of these crowd control tools that it's very much a look for the 5-on-5, land the Malzahar, Sejuani, and Kennen combination here with Core JJ at the front to be able to try and take down LongZhu in one fell swoop.
And Kobe, you can see here, I actually have a list of things I thought Samsung needed to really adjust, to change from the group stages if they didn't want to be overcome by LongZhu. And 2 of them in this game they have done. They have actually had control ward supremacy on the top side of the river multiple times to stop any of those roams from BDD. It's not Talia, it's a bit different, but keeping Syndra in lane is still going to be a priority for them. The other one there that I really want to see from them is also adjusting Ambition's playstyle. He's been a lot more active. He hasn't been this passenger in the early game. So seeing them adjust real core tendencies of the 5 games they've played with Ambition has been important, and it's not the same Samsung performance we saw in groups.
And we'll see if this performance can continue for Samsung Galaxy, holding close to LongZhu and the team that wants to get into the late game. And you look at their team fight powers, and it all feels a bit Samsung favored. AP Kennen feels like he's going to do better in a 5-on-5 than a Jax. Malzahar with a suppression, I think likely to be in a similar boat here. So LongZhu hoping they can get some leads through Khan and make that split push work. So far, it's not been the case. That Jax has lost his turret as of about 3 minutes ago. At some point, he might come online, but so far not the case.
And because there is so much AoE magic damage here on the Samsung side, that's why we're seeing all these Merc Treads come through. They want the magic resist, they want the tenacity to try and be able to function in those scenarios. As you mentioned, Jax, especially early on, does not want any part of a 5-on-5. I mean, there's so much splash damage flying around that even the Kennen ultimate really negates a lot of the effectiveness there. So that's why LongZhu are trying to keep Khan off on his own, and the other 4-man squad are trying to create these plays. We keep seeing bottom, they took the turret and dragon control, and they're trying to get more advantages in this area. It's actually very good for LongZhu that the next Drake is also an Infernal Drake, because they do want to retain control of this area and try and snowball there.
And a small point about the itemization changes we see is Ambition considering initiating. That was a bit of a missed one there.
It was ambitious.
That was a bit on the nose.
I know.
But what you do notice, remember, Sightstone completed early for LongZhu. Sightstone time has been way delayed in this meta when people are rushing for the Ardent Sensor. So vision advantage around bot side always going to be there when you have access to more wards and Thresh can look for the plays. Late game, of course, as we know, the Ardent Sensor will come online now that it's finished. So there is different kind of break points. The tug of war, the momentum goes up and down when split pushes, but also a vision advantage are in the game.
And you talk about the tug of war and the Ardent Sensor. Mathematically, Ardent Sensor is most valuable when it's first purchased. Champions don't have a lot of other stats. That 25 on hit damage means a lot more. This is like the largest power spike the Core JJ will probably have all game, in the sense that now Ruler can do a whole bunch of damage and heals more than he ever would some other time. As time goes on, the actual value of this item will actually fall a bit, and Frace can keep up.
And it also means that Samsung can change trading patterns in the 2v2, because they get that massive sustained increase with the on-hit lifesteal. You can walk up, take what looks like an even, or maybe even a trade that's going the way of LongZhu, instantly lifesteal up to full, and then you control the wave with a health advantage.
Yeah, it's very easy to sing the praises of Ardent Sensor, boys, but let's talk about the Thresh pick and the good things that you can get with this pick. Because
how much lifesteal does it give you?
It's not all about...
He has a shield.
it's not all about the initiation of Thresh. You know, we talk about LongZhu trying to keep the map a bit spread out here and trying to keep Jack's, pressure point on that side lane. One of the biggest things and understated for Thresh is the Dark Passage and saving people, as we saw on display in the river, from the hard CC of Samsung. It's going to be so critical. A lot of times in the past, when we've had teams play 1-3-1, and Thresh was a huge part of it, the Thresh would trail through one of the lanes so that you would have an escape for your pressure point and a valve to kind of let that off. Currently, though, in the fog of war.
Hooked onto the tank, though, not easy to kill Ambition. Knock him out of the back line, and Malzahar, he's going to flash away, so Crown's out of the fight. Now the Cataclysm with the front line. Look for Ambition. Getting lower and lower. 400 health. Still taking attack. One more shot will do him, and Prey gets him that kill. Now Ruler on the backside can't get the kill because he's going to stay alive through the satchel. And now looking for one more chase in. The Glasgow going to get him a bit to safety. Samsung Galaxy going to disengage. And Gube in the 1v3 finds the kill on the Prey. Does he have 4 teammates around the hook to buy some time? One more shot will do him in. Khan gets it. Gorilla knocked back to safety. Now Core JJ also cutting back against the shield, but Khan is on the chase. As soon as he gets the leap strike up, he gets himself the double kill. Now the push on for Ruler, flashing the stun, gets himself another 2-2 into this one. Over the wall goes Khan, staying alive. LongZhu, I make that actually 3 kills to do. Now Khan on the backside with Ruler around him, but Crown ulti down, going to keep him alive, and that was quite the fight.
A really extended fight there. It was initiated by LongZhu. You were talking there, Kobe, about what the Thresh brings. It's also, hey, they've got a vision advantage with the sight zone. They clear out some wards. Where's the Thresh at? Usually that's going to be pressure on Crown, but even in the grouping phase, they got the fight they wanted. They got the advantage, even though you'd think AP Cannon this early would rip through the team of LongZhu.
Exactly. This game is so much about item power spikes. Rather than looking at the gold on the scoreboard there, sometimes people are misled by who is currently ahead, but it's so much about what you've actually completed in your inventory. And that was one of the big points right there. We did see so much damage coming from this cannon. He is peaking on magic penetration right now. His ultimate does have very high effectiveness. Once you get post-level 11 and you have your Leandries plus your Sork shoes, like there's just so much burst coming through.
Colonel definitely going to be point of power. It's down about half.
Smite's available for both junglers. Smite Blade comes in. Blue team picks it up on, grabs it off Ambition. Smite actually comes in a little earlier on that one. Now they re-engage the Giants. Then comes across and Prey losing his life yet again. Out he goes, 4v5 in the chase for Samsung Galaxy. Will not find their next engage.
Ultimate was up for Crown. No way to interrupt him. Everyone on LongZhu backing away. So kill for an Infernal, just fine from the perspective of LongZhu. Second of the game already.
As long as they don't lose more, of course, mid lane going to be clear, but looking like maybe a Rift Herald attempt for Samsung Galaxy. No, it looks more like a reset.
Yeah, the fact that you still have wave clear available and very safe wave clear. Syndra and Thresh both very well equipped to defend mid lane after. So it's just the one kill that is traded for this extra scaling bonus here. Another look at that little pocket of Fog of War, though, Papa Smithy, are talking about. Immediately, they try and get the shield off of the Malzahar, so he's a bit exposed. But Ambition is the target with all the damage. They take him down early, and Cuvée, once he arrives, it's a second story.
Yeah, the flank teleport was very deep. There wasn't a more apt ward to teleport onto. So he comes in, is able to pick up a kill, trades up his life. If the teleport ward was a bit more generous, a bit closer to the members of LongZhu, could have been an even 3-for-3, but ended up being a 3-for-2.
Saw Gorilla right there sneaking away with his life, just barely the nice play to buy a little bit of time, and his earlier Lantern had pulled Cuz to safety, and we saw Cuz got out with a nice flash, then using the satchel cone. We see the re-engage here.
You can see the replay. Actually ends up being a Jack's auto attack of all things. Smite was used by Ambition, not by the jungle there on LongZhu, Cuz, as you say, and the fight continued from there.
And a nice ultimate from Ambition does lock down that kill on the exit that you talked about. Prey getting annihilated there afterwards.
I'm just excited that the verbiage opens up when it's not just going to be front-to-back team fight versus front-to-back team fight, which AD carry can power through the front line faster. This is the sort of game where suddenly flank wards for Samsung at a huge premium. They do have an initiating AP burst mage in the cannon, so warding your flanks, control wards on the sides suddenly become more important. The split push is a very real win condition. Only Trundle has really represented that so far at Worlds 2017. So these old strategies that have always been in and out of the meta finally come back in one single game. So there's a lot of things to talk about.
Also, we have to talk about the next steps for these teams, because with so much focus early in the game on Magic and Magic resistance here for LongZhu because of all the AoE from Samsung, now is the point where we're breaking into the real attack damage threat. Ruler here, level 11 Tristana, the Infinity Edge is done, his first Zeal is done. You guys talked about the Ardent Sensor and the multiplicative stats that he's going to get there. This is where the extra,
we're talking about stats in the front line, low health going tank, but look at the back line access out of Khan, and Cuz coming in for that one, and BDD gets the first kill to Core JJ support, maybe not the best kill, but their jungler's dead, so 4v4. Prey looking for more, he's going to find himself that double kill as a opposing marksman is gone. Gorilla staying alive. The hook not quite going to land on Kube. And he can't get anything with a slicing Maelstrom. A whiffed ultimate out of the AP cannon as Khan chases for a bit more ambition. Likely to lose his life. One more shot. I'll duel him in. And yes, another trade of kills. 2 for 3. Favor of LongZhu so far as Kube heading back to the mid lane.
Gorilla with his dying breath stopped Cuvée from getting on top of his AD carry. The love between those two, eternal. Keeps him alive. They do get the teamfight victory. Teamfight Jax, not a meme this time, actually worked fine.
And it's not him starting with the team, right? This is how you love to play any type of split pusher or assassin. It's coming in after so many of the key abilities have been used. When Jax teleports in, you know, the Malzahar ultimate is down, Kennen ultimate is down. He doesn't have to navigate Sejuani ultimate, all of those big CCs. Here we go as another look at the initiation. And as you said, Freak, I believe that flash ult from BDD was probably intended for Ruler, but then Ruler walks back into all the spears, gets dunked.
Cuvée gives up his life. Sorry, Cuvée trying to get into backline, thinks he can pick up multiple kills. First the flay into the box, slowing down his time. Khan picks up the kill. Samsung want to rinse and repeat. They want control wards around the Baron and to look for the picks with the Nethergrass. Going to have to be creative here from LongZhu to actually stop them just going for that, because Jax, like you say, doesn't want to group where possible, doesn't want to be one of the face checkers to get that vision.
Yeah, he likes to come in, pick up those straggler kills, and again, it has been an extra kill over to LongZhu in the past couple of skirmishes where they're able to get an objective as well as just a little bit extra on the end there. Now, though, we have to look at the teleports because it's 2 advantage for Samsung. They have the possibilities, you know, to create one of these fights. As we said before, one fell swoop, this big AoE that they're looking for. So many forms of hard CC, and if Khan is not there, then LongZhu would be punished.
And effectively to watch for wards, of course. The last fight around Samsung Galaxy thought they were hiding in a brush that was already warded out by Gorilla, so it wasn't a surprise. Now Khan gonna find Kube for the 1v1. The stun actually gonna come out of Kennen though instead, and Khan not going to find more, and you can see a pretty equal trade of health.
And expectations are the moment that Khan hits 2 to 3 items, Cuvée will have a very tough time side laning. AD Cannon, which what we saw the first time these two teams met right at the start of the season, is fine in a side lane auto-attacking. The AP Cannon is outscaled a lot faster in the 1v1. So those teleport wards, the teleport plays, this game could be decided if one flank from Cuvée works around the 30 to 35 minute mark, or if it goes sideways, because if he gets nothing, we know the Jack's going to take the base.
Reminiscent of those SPED games long ago at the World Championship as well. Can he have the same effect here? Khan, though, taking control of this jungle. And again, as you mentioned many times, it is also about the wards that they're able to leave behind to enable this split pushing and enable them to keep this pressure up. You know, the timer on the double teleport advantage as well is dwindling here for Samsung, and you have to watch out for those flanking wards to start up and set up that big play.
1 minute and 25 seconds on Khan's teleport till that one's back up. That's the TP advantage you're talking about right here. Power spikes completed in a lot of places. Ruler's got static shift done. Prey had to stop for a Quicksilver Sash, so he's actually stopped the multiplication for a little while here, slowing things down. No locket yet for Gorilla either. These are very important power spikes coming through. Kube's got his flash backup. He's got his Proto Belt in there as well to make sure he can reach the back line. This is one of the best possible times for Samsung Galaxy to find a 5v5.
The most immediate goal for LongZhu is to take down that mid lane turret. Whenever you have Blitzcrank, Thresh, these initiating supports, taking down mid lane turret can be so pivotal to getting the deep vision down. For now, they have to respect the fact that Sejuani and Malzahar, or even the Rakan, are camping brush, and that means it's much easier for Samsung to place their control wards and defend them than it is for LongZhu to put them down until they have the extra space that taking down mid lane outer provides.
Defensive boot option for Ruler action. NinjaTabi, the first time seeing it here, actually really respecting what Cuz and Khan could do in a team fight. Here goes Siege in the mid lane coming across. Rift's going to fall pretty shortly, but the wave clear keeps it alive for now. Stun almost finds Ruler, but he's off to the side. He's going to stay alive on this one. Seeing Khan again waiting in the wings. Kube going to look to fight him a little bit. The Q lands with a couple hundred damage.
Prey to side lane here, but it's being called to the mid lane once again to the 3-item spike within the edge. But certainly go a long way, given that the front line is really only Sejuani at this point. Something that LongZhu do very commonly. Korean teams do like to rotate their AD carry around to get the solo farm, as we see Ruler on your screen right now, compared to, say, the Chinese teams that are more likely to just barrel in as a 4 and force objectives while this side lane is happening.
Look at the Ruler farm. He's one of those great late-game scaling carries in the Tristana, and the only real physical damage dealer on the squad as well against the 4 Merc plus QSS team. That is a stat line you need in physical damage. Ruler hoping to do well in this one.
Definitely a lot of priority targets available for him later on. Let's see if they're able to retain